kind of need a win, right? I know the Ultimates right now, they're sitting at what, 1-2, 6-6.
Yeah, them losing to Quick Esports, that might come back to haunt them.
For sure, but I think Quick Esports, like, talk about a come up for a team coming in and looking really solid. I mean, Frosttails, you said maybe this is their chance. I think Quick Esports is a serious opponent. I think they might find themselves
I'm
in a
not
tough
saying
spot
they're
in
the
this match.
favorite heading into this. Let's actually chat about it. Quick Esports going up against Frosttails. I said this is the one opportunity for Frosttails to get that up on the board because, quite frankly, they have coming up, schedule on my side here, after Quick Esports, they go up against VP, the Ultimates, and Twisted Minds.
Yeah, maybe the Ultimates is also winnable, but it's looking pretty grim for Frosttails.
Hey, but there were definitely moments against Gen G just last week. Yes, they lost 3-0, but at least one of the maps they could have / should have won. Like, it really just came down to individuals from Gen G just refusing to lose it. But Frosttails managed to, like, hang on to more than just 1 point in the maps.
I've liked what we've seen from Frosttails out of like Keo and Majin. I think those two players have played quite well at times, whether it be Keo on like the Sojourn or on the Freya. And then we've seen some nice things out of Majin as well in terms of the tank role. So we'll see if they can kind of get a more overall team effort today potentially. So that's kind of what they're going to need against Quick Esports. Who, I mean, look, Quick Esports could. They're a map away from having wins over VP and the Ultimates. I mean, that would be a really strong start.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're coming off now of a 3-2 victory over the Ultimates, as you just said, from last week. They are the one team that just seems to trip up those upper echelon teams. They pushed VP to map 5 in the week 1 match, and VP claimed that it was just like, we're just not really preparing for them. Like, they kind of went under the radar. But I think this is more than just like a surprise factor. They just genuinely are looking good.
I mean, Quick is a team that really could be looking at like a top 3, top 4 type of a placement here in EMEA if they can win some of these crucial bubble matches. And so honestly, for Frosttails should be an open and shut match for them. Like, if they want to be a solid team, it's not just being able to punch up against stronger teams. They need to be able to kind of beat down on a weaker opponent and just not give them any quarter. Like, you can't be the team that is showing weakness to Frosttails, frankly. Like, you've got to, from Quick's perspective, I think, make this one really convincing if you want to continue that momentum. You've got Gen G, you've got Peps coming up. Like, these are really winnable games. You're also playing OWCS, which might be a little bit less winnable, but still, like, they played VP close. Yeah. Maybe they can punch up there too.
They have 4 more matches to come, as you just said. TM and Quick Esports and OWCS, those might be the losses they're taking, but Gen G and Peps, those might actually be victories. And if they win against Frosttails, that would put them in the top of the region. So that'd be really, really impressive.
Yep. I mean, look, they have definitely a clear path, right, off of their first 2 games. It's just about continuing this hot streak, right? I don't think they're a mystery to anybody anymore, right? People are going to be, looking at them a bit more in terms of VOD reviews. So it's not going to be a complete unknown.
That's right. Well, Frosttails will try their very best to get that first victory on the board, as well as they're heading into their match against Quick Esports. All of that starts now. So guys, please take it away.
Thank you, Zoe. Jumping into this match, I agree with you, though. I think, like, Quick Esports can be a real threat here, but they need to play it tight. I mean, Frosttails, there's a reason they're here. They've qualified, like, individually, playmaking-wise, on some of the, like, the DPS roles. Like, they can pop off. The question is the team play going to be there across the board? Are you going to have the flexibility for Frosttails? Because it's been a rough season. They got to be beaten down right now.
Yeah, well, also with Quick Esports, right, with how close the EMEA could be in that, like, OWCS looks like they would potentially run away with the #1 slot right now, but how close everything else could be, with everybody else beating Frosttails 3-0, you kind of need to keep pace in terms of, like, map differential, right? Exactly. Dropping maps here means you need to make it up in other spots where you feel like there's an opportunity to get it here. So the Brig is gone here from Quick Esports off the rip, which yesterday we had a long discussion about, like, is Brig still that support powerhouse as she once was? Maybe not. And then a Genji ban here for Frosttails. So when we showed that graphic, Genji doesn't really get a lot of ban love in EMEA. So this is a little bit of a rare curveball here.
Yeah, we heard from Exodial in the interview. He thinks that the matchups against Freya are just so difficult for Genji. Maybe it's a little bit less relevant, but this is Oasis, so it's a pretty solid map for some of these like closer range brawling styles, including the Brig and the Genji. So on a map like Oasis, if you're going to ban him, this is the moment to do it. And for Quick Esports, banning the Brig also lets them bring a lot of tempo to the match. Traditionally, Brig can be used to slow the game down and mitigate some of these highly mobile flankers. And so with that off the table, well, we won't have Genji to play with, but still a lot of potential for Quick Esports to play to their name and really bring that pace here in control.
And Willie's for Quick. I mean, he has been just awesome in terms of tank role for this team.
Yeah.
He's really kind of been a standout player for them, whether it's like the Diva, the Hazard, can really play a lot of things. We've seen Johan. Johan was in OWCS last year, right? So definitely not complete unknowns here from Quick Esports, but a lot of new players. We get a little
Quick DC looks like
the rip. No, not a DC.
I mean, yeah, almost like they did it before we left the screen, but it's all good. It's all good.
You didn't see anything. We don't know what's going on.
I'm curious. I wonder if it's a bait, but Keo and Pack are hovering the cast Tracer here, which would be a bit of an old school comp. But I mean, Exodial said in that interview, you cannot play another hits game besides Freya. She is too dominant right now. She's setting the pace of the meta, and I kind of agree. Especially Cassidy seems super vulnerable to Freya, like the ability to poke from range and snipe you down. Cassidy just doesn't deal well with those highly mobile snipers.
He's just ancient. He's just like an ancient
old
hero.
Man. Make his hair gray like Soldier.
Yeah, like Freya's flying through the air, like building up ultimate so fast, and Cassidy, he can roll. Yeah, he can roll. Like that's about it. Yeah, it just seems like he's a little bit of obsolete, even in the category that you would like him to fill in terms of dealing with flankers and everything. Just there's so much extra mobility and burst damage options that. With the players that aim this well, right? Like, the stun isn't the difference of killing a flanker or not, right? Everybody can like kind of dodge it, where you have that burst damage that is like unexpected and you can't be healed or can't be mitigated. Like that's what'll end up taking down one of these flankers. So I would not love the Cassidy matchup into Freya, and that would be rough.
It is a scary match potentially. We have to see, of course, once we get into that game, what the teams end up picking. We've got a long series ahead, but for that long series, we've also got drops for all of you viewers. So be sure you've got your account linked. Get those nice drops. Of course, we got 2 different sections of drops here based on the day.
We're getting close to that second section.
Yeah,
we're getting
Make sure
close.
that means the first one's going to be gone, right? You got to get it while it's hot and fresh. Get that name card.
You don't want to be the kid on the playground without the drip, right? You gotta be able to show all that stuff.
Everyone would be mocking you. Everyone's gonna be saying, "Oh, he doesn't have the name card." It's like you can't let that happen. You gotta stay on point, stay drip.
You log into Stadium to try and get those special loot boxes for wins, and they see you don't have the name card, and
it's like, come on, bro. Like we can't party up, dog. I can't be seen with you.
We lost.
All right.
Quick Esports here. We'll
Cassidy.
see. Okay, so they're gonna run the Cassie. This is
Casper. I mean, Cassidy can pop off though. Like in the end, that there is a threat of him dying, but he's also a pretty big.
Are you
threat
trying to sell me
right.
on the Cassidy here?
I'm not a believer, but there's always a chance, Matt. There's always a chance.
Yeah, that's true.
These explosive bolts are such heavy harassment, though. It's like so hard for Majin to really take pressure on point, and Keo can't really hold the peak as aggressively.
Well, also, I mean, you see every time the Keo turns the corner, right? There's an explosive shot at his feet, basically takes him out of no HP, and Pac gets extremely low here.
Oh, Diva low.
Yeah, this is not a great spot to be in at the moment.
What's going on here? Keo finds one. Very chaotic situation. Keo finds another. All right, Cassidy. And imagine
that is a fight
so long there.
How did Quick Esports end up losing this? It feels like they had a massive advantage throughout the beginning of that fight, but Frosttails behind Keo able to just kind of muscle their way onto the point.
Keo says, heck your meta, heck your strats. I'm just gonna click enemy team head, enemy team die. We win. Now the retake though is on for Quick Esports, and they're playing with a bit more aggressive tempo here. Maybe this is the way to do it. Attack the Cassidy. Punisher, what is this?
Well, okay, I gotta get your professional opinion on this one.
Shot, dude.
Wait, it's like sideways as well.
All right. He's doing it sideways, admin. Diva's each finding purchase in the fight. Quick Esports, though, a little bit the worse for wear. Both supports down now. And Frosttail's still fighting. Well, what is this?
Okay. What is going on here? Is that a heart in the middle?
That looks great, imagine. This is, I mean, you can't even see
what do you
some
mean
of
it
the
looks
people.
great? It's so filled in, you can't even see who you're shooting at.
That's like bigger than a player at mid-range. But Frosttail's still holding the point with the Kyo fighting in front of that. Out of the mech, though, is Majin, so they're going to be pretty vulnerable. And there's the connection from Zidra that we've been looking for. Kyo goes down. Frosttail's, do you want to recommit to this? It's looking like a pretty difficult engagement. Diva still out of mech, trying to rebuild that. They're stalling well for now, but getting very low, and the flip will go back to them. So Majin trying to remech, but so low in the last second cleanups. Majin does get a mech drop, but I think he should be dying anyway. Please, you can't watch
Yo,
this.
this has been a game. I love this. This has been a game so far.
The Diva.
Quick Esports finally able to flip the point. Pretty good, obviously. Get from Frosttails here early on. Another interesting crosshair here from Frosttails with the triple lines underneath the dot.
Here's the beat. Frey over the top. Do they see him? Not gonna channel. There's the channel.
Oh,
Freya
nice.
does cancel the bullet shot as well. Quick Esports reeling. The beat is only on 3. Desperate scenario, but Lucio running out of HP quickly, and that one fell apart before it even really began. Frosttails just running over the defenders and showing some real fight left in this squad.
Yeah, and that beat doesn't really get much of anything for Quick Esports, right? Natsuki uses on the high ground, connects with Willies himself and Johan, and they get absolutely nothing for it. I mean, both DPS are dead at the time. So we're talking about how maybe this Cassidy is not going to be as effective playing into the Freya, at least thus far. Frosttails hasn't had much of an issue with it.
Look, it's a good map for Cassidy, right? A lot of these mid-range engagements. Now he's getting a little bit cheeky, taking it wide on the flank. And it seems like Quick Esports are actually happy to take this. They get point position for free, so a bit of a forced rotation for Frosttails. Now they're going to be the ones on retake, but they're wasting no time in that. Immediately diving in, Natsuki finds a big connection. Willis with a second. And finally, Quick Esports getting the decisive fight that they were looking for. Frosttails tried to, take that rotation in with the Cassidy, play that close-range engagement, but Quick Esports reads the play and counter-rotates perfectly.
Yeah, now Quick Esports in an opportunity here, Jake, to be able to kind of like run this up, make a really nice comeback, right? I mean, you have this Kitsune rush to be able to use bowl shot. You can kind of throw into their Kitsune rush, right? Be a bit of a nuisance there. Maybe you're able to catch out Kyo, right? Not a lot of mobility there on the Cassidy. And then I'm looking at Dip with a pulse bomb, right? We haven't seen a ton of big pulse bombs yet in this series. So really, just maybe one yesterday as well. But you land a big one here, could be massive. It'll be a Kitsune rush to open things up here as Kyo gets all the benefits of it there.
Yeah, but he is just forced out, forces the self-destruction. Quick Esports still pretty happy with this trade, and it's Dib who finds the much bigger connection. Boulder shot as well into the back line. And Frosttails, for as well as this round started, it feels like it's kind of crumbling now. They need to stay alive on these players, but it's so difficult. Pack 1 HP, being chased down to the spawn.
And you have beat here. I mean, you have beat available here for Quick Esports. I mean, there's no reason.
This should be just unwinnable retake.
Yeah.
Tracer instantly forced to recall. Does get the OT touch, but as you mentioned, that sound barrier going to be powerful. Quick Esports, see if they want to push up the point. Imagine, still healthy, could get one more touch. Yeah, okay. So they're going to get a solid delay, but it's costing the lives of their players. Natsuki just doubles down with the sound barrier. They're chasing into the back line. Fighting off the point, of course, really powerful right now. Frosttails forced to contest for the overtime. And it's just Imagine demeched, cleaned up. And a map that started really well here for Frosttails ends up going against them. That's kind of painful. Like, I feel Frosttails almost needed this win a lot more than Quick did in terms of coming out with an unconventional strat in the Cassidy, having a great first fight. Like, it felt like this is the one they should have converted, and they can't do it here.
Well, I mean, they were able to get Quick Esports off the high ground right away, right? Quick Esports gets control of high ground. They end up having the Freya sit up there, and even with like a comp that we find maybe a little bit disadvantageous there for Frosttails, they're able to actually just kind of like bully up to the high ground and take it, but then they just kind of fumble it towards the end.
To see if you can make the comeback. I think that's probably the best Cassidy map on the field. Damage being really brought
Jake,
down.
I gotta ask you real quick. I mean, we can't just. How big is too big for a crosshair?
Bro,
like, can you ever go too big?
That's like 3x too big. Like,
Okay.
This Lucio one is like, I'm like, oh, like a normal crosshair. I literally can't see what's going on. I can't cast. We're on the defense POV.
I mean,
how does he play?
It's very difficult to see the targets, which, you know, maybe...
Like he's shooting at something. Someone's taking damage. There's a hit marker. I don't know how to cast, but...
I mean, that's an interesting one.
And this is a spot where Frosty, they're just kind of forced to play the low ground. They don't have much of an option here. Dip, though, getting pressured, forced to read. Gonna have to full kite out, joining the Lucio here in the flank fight. Big damage on the enemy tracer, though. Forces the recall onto Pac. Gonna have a tempo advantage if he wants to pressure it here.
I think Pac was actually he was trying to chase Natsuki, and then they end up just kind of like baiting him into Dip, where now you see this is a really weird position for Frosttails to be backed up into, right? They're just getting pushed back slowly towards this staircase, further and further back, but at the benefit, though, of Frosttails, right? You're taking so much damage. Kiwi building up towards this Kitsune rush pretty fast.
Kyo's putting on a lot of damage, though. Already has that high noon almost built up here, and you need to stay on the cap for Quick Esports. Frosttails are able to get the flip, just leveraging that close range pressure from Kyo, who's fighting incredibly well here on the caster. We're doubting the pick, but it's looking good for now. Uses both cooldowns, though. Opportunity now for the aggression. Stick comes in, cleanse, saves him, and now into the Kitsune rush with the high noon as well. D.Va running low on the Matrix. Could be dropping here. Oh, just barely missed time, but still, Cassidy needs a bit of help now. Getting low, getting surrounded. Willis held the aggro for just long, and a great eat on the high noon to keep him alive, keep him in that suit. Seems like things are tilting against Frosttails, but they're still up with 4.
They're still going to be able to kind of keep this contested, right? At this point, you can contest for a very long time. Majin actually gets back in mech. They're going to use a sound barrier here as well, as Frosttails just trying to extend this for as long as possible. It's going to be Quick Esports also investing their sound barrier. But Jake, some of these members from Frosttails may end up making it back into the fight, right? Extending this even further.
Yeah, they're making it last quite a while, getting a lot of extra percentage. Willis, though, extremely low, needs to hold in the mech. Wow, that was way too close for comfort. Pax getting a little bit more of a stall here on the Tracer. He's going to try to escape with his life. But with that kill from Zindra, there's an opportunity here for Quick Esports to push the tempo, chase deeper into the spawn. And this is a great killing field here for Zindra.
Looks like they were trying to push back a little bit further into the spawn, but everybody on Frosttails actually makes it out. I'm curious now because if Frosttails...
Thanks, Magic. I appreciate that, bro.
Yes. Thank you for changing the outline. So, I mean, is it a benefit for us or him? I would say it's probably more a benefit for him being able to actually see what's going on. I do think, though, pushing into the fray is going to be a little bit harder, right? We saw constantly when going into the chokes there on the last point, like just landing those explosive shots just time and time again, just putting down chunk damage on some of these targets. We'll see how they kind of attack it.
And so far, Kyo's been managing to navigate these fights well. The rest of Frosttails really coalescing around him, though. Here's the boot from the D.Va, pushes him out of position. And Willis, though, finally catches off Kyo. Eat on the bullet shot from Majin. Keeps the fight in contest, but this Kitsune Rush is not really able to find value except with Pac leveraging it. Lucio dancing so well here. Gogo needs to win this 1v1, crucial for the fight. And so far, he's backed off Dib, who has to fall out for the health pack.
I mean, dude, just wasting Dib's time is huge there. I mean, Gogo able to live for a very long time. It's not going to result in a point flip, as Willies is going to end up using a self-destruct, going to be able to get back in the mech. Just going to toss it over the top here, as Majin will have his. Is another fight coming here, but Frost has a huge ultimate advantage.
They're playing with a big health advantage too. Majin gets the beat just in time. That's going to protect his mech. 2 kills for Frosttails. Looks like to be a quick retake for them, just what they needed, but Quick Esports trying to stall, trying to get that 99%, set themselves up for a 1 retake to win the round.
We'll see. You still have the baby team here. Is anybody else here? So it looks like Dip still on the point, just trying to, maybe get it to 99, but like you mentioned, Jake, just 1 fight away here for Quick Esports. Hasn't been as clean as like some of their other games that we've seen thus far. I think it's probably more that Frosttails playing a bit better here today than we've seen from them in the past, but it's going to be a Deadeye here used from Kyo as trying to get quite aggressive.
Nice boops there, keeping the D.Va in LOS, and Willis is going to have to take a quick reset here. It's pretty much last fight. However, Natsuki with the beat, that's a pretty massive advantage. Kiwi, 86 to the Kitsune Rush. That's going to be crucial. They need to outlast the first few seconds of this beat and have the Kitsune Rush to stabilize on point. Scary moment for Quick Esports. Beating first is pretty risky here. They might try to just play this one slow. And Kiwi gonna rip the Kitsune first. Natsuki's able to beat responsibly. But imagine with that self-destruct, they're still willing to fight strong in the close range.
Yeah, Frostel seems like they always want to be the team that engages, whether it be with a Deadeye, this time with that Kitsune Russ, Cedra needs to stay alive, and Keo ends up finding the shot, but that's some nice damage that comes down from Pack, as Pack on the Tracer has really been impactful in a lot of these fights, able to come up with some serious damage, kind of turn the tide for Frosttails. It'll be a Kitsune Rush here at the end from Johan, but this looks like it's going to be a round that Frosttails are going to be able to steal.
You know, honestly, the more I see from this Cassidy, the more I like it from Keo. And like, realistically, at the top of the top, is this going to be meta? I don't think so. But I like that from Frosttails. They're saying, you know what, hey, look, our season, it hasn't gone the way we were hoping. We've been struggling. And they go with the change. They say, you know what, Keo's probably just feeling more comfortable on the Cassidy. He feels like he can get more done on it. And they're going to go for it. I think this is smart from them, like being willing to innovate, but within a boundary that keeps, you know, it's still a strong comp, right? This is a classic strat that Frosttails are running. It's, okay, you're straying away from like the flavor of the month in Freya, but look at Keo's damage. I mean, he's keeping up here.
Yeah, but also, like, if Keo isn't, you know, let's say he's, you know, doesn't feel as comfortable playing the Freya, why force it? Especially when some of these maps are like pretty like medium to close range where you can get away with Cassidy at times. They also seem to do a better job actually keeping the Cassidy alive, where it seems like for Quick Esports sometimes difficulty is keeping Zydra alive.
Yeah, Cassidy, this is a pretty tough spot for him though, lacking mobility to climb up to the high ground. Takes a wide rotation, but there he's quite low. Willis trying to strike and finish that one off. The rest of the team though, quick to peel back. They're really aware of Keo's position. They're always ready to help him out. And Willis thought he could get that kill, ends up getting punished, losing his mech and then his life. Frosttails now looking for some chase downs. Quick Esports want to stay alive. They want to hold on to a bit of map control while they wait for this diva, but feels like the cap is a foregone conclusion here, Matt.
It looks like Willis was actually bumped down from the high ground to the low ground, because he just gets kind of completely separated from the rest of Quick Esports, where just gets demeched right away. Natsuki very low, can end up losing to Lucy here. You got to get a good fight if you're Quick Esports, but as I say that, it is Pack taking out Johan.
I mean, if Q just keeps hitting shots, right? Like, this is a problem. Zydra in a tough spot, doesn't have the dash. And
man, what is going on? This would be Frosttails' first map win as well, potentially, of the stage, which it would be huge, right? A lot of, you know, some of the other teams in EMEA watching this series probably would love Quick Esports to drop a few maps, drop the series, right? Just kind of open things back up.
There's a lot of pressure on Quick Esports, and I feel like Frosttails are kind of playing with the house money here, taking risks, playing to their comfort. And so far, it's looking good. They've been playing super aggressive, keeping Quick Esports on the back foot, getting the most value to this Cassidy that they possibly can. Now, though, bit of flank control taken by Quick Esports. Pack, quick to clear them out. Imagine is low, though, so Quick starting to find the retake in terms of this tank pressure. Distraction by Pack is pulling a lot of the attention, though. And that's going to allow Kyo to stabilize. It's going to allow Pack to drop the pulse. And that even catches Natsuki, even stuck on the diva. So Quick Esports struggling a bit on this retake.
For me, we talked a lot about, like, you know, the Cassidy play, but Pack has really been, I think, the difference maker here, at least early on. And Willie's and Quick Esports going to make a change, going to move away from the diva and go play Hazard here, where Frosttails in complete control of this. You know, you're going to get up to above 80% by the time this next fight kicks off. You're going to have a beat as well. Double supportal potential for Quick Esports here, but still it feels like Frosttails, you know, has the upper hand.
Natsuki close to the beat, but doesn't have it just yet. Now Keo in the sights for Hazard. This is why you pick the hero. Much better matchup here against the Cassidy. Keo's juking for now, but caught and surrounded. Even with the help of the Kiriko, it's not enough. Willis, low HP, playing the spike wall, coming back in. But meanwhile, Majin has been cleaning up. He's got a self-destruct. Needs a touch here, but doesn't have recall. 1 more second. Is just barely going to get it in time. More overtime touches, though, needed. Natsuki's back just in time with the beat. This could be turning the fortunes for Quick Esports. Going to be a long road back in the round from here. But they can't find kills off the beat. They're going to have to do this one the old-fashioned way. And Keo holding the point with the high noon. Frosttails looking to take their first map of the stage. Self-destruct over the top. Tracer with another overtime touch dip. Finally caught from the flashbang from Keo, and he seals the deal. Frosttails take Oasis. Big turnaround here. I thought Quick Esports would kind of be dominant in this series. I thought the question was how quickly can they win? How solidly can they buff up their map diff? And now Frosttails is throwing that all into question.
It's wild, right? You know, Frosttails, obviously, they get their first map win of the stage on the board, but Quick Esports looked a little shaky going up against that, maybe a little bit of a, not really a bizarre type of competition, right? Because it's just putting the Cassidy in the spot of the Freya, but having that change up, made Frosttails look much better as a team.
And honestly, more than that, I felt Frosttails was playing with a lot of confidence in this match. You know, like just they were playing very aggressive, consistently setting the tempo. Quick Esports, more often than not, was on the back foot. And I thought, okay, maybe this Cassidy is going to struggle to live in like these long poke trades. Frosttails is playing to their strengths. Like they're not taking the long range poke trade. They're going in, they're sending it. Imagine taking some big risks. And, you know, maybe if he's getting punished, still the rest of the squad is following that up. I'm thinking about teams like OWCS when they, you know, send the D.Va in, go for some big hunting plays, and the rest of the team is following up behind it. That's kind of the way it's been looking from Frosttails.
You lose to a team rocking crosshairs like that, it should kind of.
Oh my God, the D.Va. All right, this is like nothing. I mean,
this is like better.
This is like
better
okay.
than where we were.
This isn't that bad. The round one crosshair, like this is a normal crosshair. It's like you can barely even see it. That's like the standard pro crosshair.
So take a look at the stats actually. So Quick Esports still wins like the damage output, right? In terms of having that Freya, but not by much, right? Obviously the healing heavily favors Frosttails here. And just like overall survivability, you would say Cassidy is obviously a sturdier hero than Freya just in general, where Frosttails ends up winning it there in that final round. You really kind of look at some of those stats, Jake, and you're like, it didn't really feel as much that those last two rounds were like blowouts, but the stats would indicate they were.
Honestly, like Keo was dying a lot there. Like he was taking a lot of deaths overall.
Nobody believed.
Yeah, no one believed. I mean, it's fair. Like Frosttails has been mapless so far. I mean, and to be fair, there's still map picks to go up against. That's control. You've kind of shown your hand a little bit. Okay, we made a big change up last week, and we're coming with this new look. And now Quick Esports, this is a big test for them as a squad, right? They've played up to some strong teams where maybe the pressure wasn't on them. This is a match where they're the favorites based on past performances, and so now they need to put up or shut up. They need to show that they can adapt and respond to it. Like a Cassidy pick shouldn't be throwing you off. If you're a team, if Quick Esports, you want to be in like top 3, top 4, the way it seems possible for them to be, this is where you've got to show it. You've got to really button it down and lock up the series from here.
We have seen teams, though, historically, right, play to like the level of their competition, right?
Yeah.
It's really easy to get psyched up to play against, one of the top teams in the region, but you got a one match week, it's Frosttails, you're kind of like, you know what, maybe we just kind of like, take our foot off the gas a little bit, but clearly not able to do so. So taking a look at some of the maps, for Quick Esports, you look at maps like Circuit. I think Midtown's actually a map they could probably go to. I think for both these teams, New Junk City is probably the go-to, but I don't think anybody's picking the Flashpoint this early on. I think you're seeing teams go towards that escort and hybrid pool.
And I mean, I'm curious for Keo how he's going to respond to some of the map picks, and it's going to be Circuit for Quick Esports, so maybe they're gonna send the game back to a sniper.
Not a great Cassidy map.
I mean, if you play Cassidy here, you are built different to be like, this is probably the worst Cassidy map in the game, I think. Like, it's pretty egregious. We'll see if they're able to leverage it. I wouldn't be surprised to see Keo over to the Widow, over to the Ashe, or maybe it is the Freya on this map, because she pretty insane here, pretty great.
So the bans are interesting here. So first ban is Quick Esports, obviously. They get rid of Alari, so that takes like the Alari BAP kind of compositions off the table, but that allows Frosttails to get rid of Freya.
If that's the comfort issue for Keo, then I mean we've seen Keo look great on Sojourn, Ashe. We've got experience on some of these more core hit scan, and I feel like with Freya banned, we might. I wonder if even like Widow could come out again. I wonder if it will be Sojourn or Ashe. I mean, it'll be curious to see, because he feels like almost a foregone conclusion that will be some kind of hit scan on Circuit. There's always the option that teams, could just play like a really fast tempo style. Frosttails banned the Genji on map 1, so maybe Quick Esports could play that tempo and try to roll over Keo with the Genji, especially without Freya. Maybe that actually opens the door for Genji to be really dominant on this map.
Like Genji Sojourn type of look.
Yeah, like classic, right? And play a lot of speed. This map is deceptively, like, I think a lot of people just get led into the greed on this map, playing lots of snipers and long range damage dealers and those heavy poke heroes, and you could really short circuit that by going all in on your aggression and your pace.
And probably the people who are banking on Quick Esports for fantasy. I mean, what, 92% in the chat? I mean, that'd be a rough day for people out there. It's Quick Esports on offense. See, they have some time. So for Frostheels on defense, they're actually going to play the Soj. And then they're also going to play a Mercy with it.
No, the Mercy is a bait, right? No way, it's not a bait.
No. This is a real.
Spawn.
There it is.
Okay.
There it is. So we're going to get the classic Mercy here.
Mercy May. I'm a little worried for him.
I am not. I have full
Believe
confidence
in the Mercy. All right, respect.
I don't.
Okay.
Just
especially, I mean, Farah is going to really do a lot of work here. Like, Sojourn really doesn't like this matchup, especially with D.Va. It's not going to be easy to have consistent rail charge. At least it's Mercy, right?
Yeah, this is fine.
This is fine. You can do whatever, bro. You could have like a black box that covers the middle third of your screen. D.Va?
It's a lot of I think for Gogo, right? It's going to be like the damage and the healing, basically just pocketing Keo. You see the beam is not left Keo's side the entire time, and let Kiwi just keep everybody else topped up.
I mean, full faith in Keo here on the Soj. Puts a lot of pressure on him to actually find production. They've used a couple powerful skills here. Quick Esports fighting well, but really I think it's going to be the ultimate fights where Quick Esports are going to be at their strongest, and the card is starting to roll forward little by little. The lack of a Brig really means Willis has been free to kind of run rampant on this D.Va as he pleases. Now, though, taking a bit of focus fire, taking a bit of aggro, maybe he has overstayed his welcome, and the Keo re-pushing full strength with that beam on him. Looking for more. Might even consider a slide in here. Has just lost his teammate's mech, though, so Quick Esports fighting this well even for now. Pack does have that Blizzard coming up momentarily. But this cart can progress little by little. The fact that you haven't made the hold yet, I mean, Frostheels are coming up on the first ultimates, but do you really want to re-push into this?
It would be quite brutal. I mean, you see that's going to be the ice block there from Pack, as they're just trying to stall time until Majin can get back in the fight, and there he is. It's going to be the Blizzard thrown in, but you end up losing your Mercy. That's a pretty brutal scenario there. The Mercy pocketing Keo so hard, then you end up losing Keo. Overclock here used by Zidra at the end, as this is more of the Quick Esports we've seen in the past.
Yeah, I mean, killing the Mercy there, dream scenario here for Sojourn. Best possible pick, I think, to open the fight. And they do it with just the OC. That's going to be a problem because Pack has used the Blizzard. That's really your, I don't know, it's your best defense against the rally. It's kind of your only defense against the rally. And so Quick Esports now have a major tempo lead. Valkyrie brings a lot of damage.
So wait,
right?
now you see Yoham on the other team. Yoham has now joined the party in terms of crazy crosshairs. We've opened things up now for both sides.
OC pops. Keo needs to produce here, has the beam, but it's difficult to even walk up, right? So many threats in his face. The rally shield from Brig, creating opportunities, but Zidra gets cut down through the chaos. Keo finds it. Orbital Ray now dumped over the top, and the advantage Sojourn here means Quick Esports probably have to back off this one. Willis shoots the bomb in. Can't find a connection. Oh, it actually does find Keo. Surprisingly got caught around the corner. Oh, he changes it every round.
Yeah, so he just kind of goes to another wild one. But there, the Valkyrie was actually able to kind of like provide a pretty sizable damage boost to like everybody on the team, right? You also have the orbital ray going. Then you can kind of like obviously switch to the heals at time. But Valkyrie ends up kind of paying off there. Same with the ability to get that res on the Keo, right? You're not worried about kicking this fight off without him.
Tracer into the backline, harassing this Juno. Mercy, though, quick to come to the assistance for that. And Frostheel's doing admirably well. Majin finds Div, got caught overextended there. Recalling with May fighting in this front line. Kind of taking the place, I guess, of the Brig and the ability to hold this position for now. Majin forced into the self-destruct. Quick Esports, remarkably healthy, though proving durable with this Juno Brig setup. Willis takes the remake, falling back off the corner here, but Keo needs to find some kind of a shot here. There it is, though, onto Yoham. And once again, I mean, this team has just put full faith in their hit scan DPS in Keo. And he's showing why he continues to produce here with the help of the pocket. Gogo taking some flank poke from the D.Va in the backline, but the rest of the fight is going all Frostheel's way.
Is there any other, as Willie's going to get demec'd here, so it's going to be a pretty long stagger you're going to get on the D.Va of Quick Esports. Outside of the pocket onto Keo, and obviously the ability to res, is there any other like just overall team benefit you think the Mercy ends up giving? Like the Valkyrie is obviously an ultimate that can provide some like AoE healing damage boost to the team, but I don't know if I would put it in the same categories like Rally in terms of effectiveness, but is there anything you think that it also brings to the squad?
I think mostly Mercy just brings damage and the one-hit threat. So especially this overclock, though, this is a big power spike for Frosttails. The pocketed overclock really is the peak of this Mercy in terms of her effectiveness on the battlefield. And you can see, like, just the threat of that one-shot is really scaring off the backline. So full commitment, though, from Keo and Dying. I don't know if that's such a good trade. He does find Juno, but now Zidra is kind of free to have a reign of terror on the map with the Valkyries, though, to get Kiwi back into the fight. And overall, it seems like Frosttails are stabilizing. They're going to drop the orbital ray, going to recommit. Natsuki bashes off with the rally, uninterested in taking that duel. Quick Esports trying to survive, trying to wait this out. So far, so good, though. They're looking relatively healthy. Orbital ray ends. Yoham takes down Gogo, and now Frosttails in real trouble. Kiwi is incredibly low. Where's the follow for it? There it is. Dip cleans up. And Quick Esports slowing the tempo down, and I mean, there's just so much pressure on Keo. Like, trading 1-for-1 isn't quite good enough, and that's a scary spot to be.
It does burn some clock there, though, for Frosttails, right? Gogo gets the res, still has some Val. Kiwi ends up using the orbital rays. It looks like Frosttails, they want to come back and fight this, Jake. They're going to end up having a self-destruct here, plus a Blizzard. So the main wall there from Pack almost actually kind of splits off him for the rest of the team.
Yeah, and the Ice Block is going to stall for yet a bit more time. Yoham gets a crucial Pack while Majin dives in for that. Majin has self-destruct, but steps off the point for a moment. The Quick Esports are going to cap. I feel like that wasn't really a winnable scenario anyway for Frosttails, so they're going to be all right going to third point, but already the time bank is burning pretty low, and Gogo has made a great decision, I think, to swap to the Brig on third, where those closer range engagements going to be more important, maybe a little bit harder for Mercy to stay alive with all the flanking potential here on third.
I'm almost even surprised that Frosttails is sticking with the Mei as well. Like, I don't think it's obviously been effective, but Pack was so good on the Tracer. No, in round number 1, it was a really big map number 1. It was a really big difference maker, I think, for Frosttails, which ends up getting them the win. But the Mei here just provides a very difficult comp to kind of like bully out, right? Especially now in combination with the Brig.
Keo, though, caught alone on the cart, in trouble. Zidra can't get the connections, though. Some rare misses from him, but the rally Brig, advantage from Natsuki, picking that hero a little bit earlier. Gogo has a rally of their own, but is incredibly low on this Brig, now being harassed, being cleaned up with the help of the Diva. And Keo's still alive here, deep in the back line.
I don't know how. He is now sliding back into the team. Okay, they finally get him. He lives forever, but this clock, though, Jake, is still dwindling, right? You end up using the rally there for Quick Esports. Oh, that is a sick pulse bomb there.
All the way to the spawn door. Dip sends them a parting gift here. Self-destruct. Gonna get nothing. OC from Keo, but so desperate. Even one kill, not gonna be enough. Needs to find yet more connections here. Surrounded, hit from all sides. The respawners are coming in. Pack needs to find a clutch kill of his own, but it feels so difficult. Natsuki standing strong on the point, making a contest too difficult. Juno 1 HP. Majin is back, looking to stall as he can. Willis looking to hunt some extra kills. So you are burning the clock little by little. Keo is going to come out on the venture, so maybe you can get yet a little bit more stall. But it does feel like a foregone conclusion. Kiwi, though, hold on, with the orbital ray, could be turning that around. Big damage from Diva, trying to go through. The cleanse is perfect, keeping Kiwi alive. And wait, somehow, some way, Frosttails have snatched this one back. This should have been an impossible scenario. Self-destruct doesn't connect either. And Frosttails have brawled this one out. Impressive stall, great coordination from them. Quick Esports are reeling. Willis, though, that's a kill that gets him right back into the fight. Yoham gonna double down with the orbital ray, committing onto the point. Frosttails, for all the stall they've been able to engineer, they've gotten the overtime. But surely this is too much. Natsuki 95 to that rally. That will be the final nail in the coffin, and Zidra closing it out with that crucial pickoff. And there we go, Quick Esports. They managed to finish the map.
Yeah.
Through all the trials and tribulations, it's still a good push.
It felt like, though, we'll take a look at this replay. That's a nice pulse bomb connection there from Dip. It did feel like Frosttails, they missed their window of opportunity, right? When they end up using that orbital ray, there's a brief window where there's no support ults on the other side, and they just don't find any kills during it. And then that time you're able to come back with Yoham's orbital ray, and Itsuki ends up with a rally, and then there's no path to victory. So Frosttails almost able to squeak it out. Pretty scary here for Quick Esports that this is going this close.
Yeah, this just doesn't look like the match that we thought we'd see based on Frosttails' lackluster performance in the past matches. They've clearly turned things around in this last week and, been playing a lot more effectively. Willis, though, kind of feasting due to the, for the most part in that round, the lack of a Brig on the enemy team. D.Va was really able to just go wild with it, can be so much more aggressive without the threat of those boops from Brig. And that's really what you're missing in this comp. That's why I think there's so much pressure on Keo to constantly be producing pick after pick. And in the end, the scoreboard looks pretty convincing here for Quick Esports. Kind of makes it look more one-sided than it really was. I mean, remember, Frosty, it looked like in the end there, it looked like they should have been capped on with like a minute left, and they just do some very nice clutching to get it to overtime, but capping third is already good on circuit.
Yeah, I think obviously you would have loved some time in the bank, but just in general, being able to kind of clutch up there for Quick, getting the win. Frostale's gonna go with this Mercy again on offense, where I guess for maybe these like kind of longer straightaways in different areas of the map like this, you think that the Mercy is a little bit more maybe effective, being able to provide the damage boost, but still might leave a little bit to be required there with not having the Brig.
That's a nice pick off, though. It is hit instantly res, and Quick Esports can tend to back off and just play the corner. But you got to be careful. Keo is going to get chances here with the boosted rails. You can't completely mitigate that threat. Ice Block already forced out. D.Va now stepping up to hold cart. Quick Esports hitting from all sides, playing together with the Brig where they're strong. Continuing to proc those heals. Big shot, though, on the Mei. Dip doesn't have that Ice Block for a few more seconds. Just has to hold it down with his body. Enemy Ice Block is deployed, forcing the wall. And for now, Quick Esports is sustaining through the trade. This is exactly what they need to do, but it's always scary. The threat is that boosted rail comes in, and meching the D.Va is so valuable here. If they want, they can back off, but it seems like Will is not interested in that, is going to continue to push forward, look for more. Maywall has been deployed. Majin still relatively far from that mech. Ice Block as well as used, so Quick Esports looking to get aggressive. Blizzard from Pack looks to be mostly defensive here. Does it catch the enemy Mei, which kind of gets the back in the fight. Majin's in the mech.
I think they were actually trying to go for that kill onto Majin. Actually, once they get him demech'd, and then had kind of Blizzard thrown in a little bit defensively there, catches Quick Esports off guard a little bit. But even without that damage boost, Hydra able to find one here, where I think this is probably the worst spot to be stuck in if you're Frostales, right? Because you don't want to be like in this close quarter scenario fighting without that Brig, even though you do have the Mercy to provide some extra damage. I don't think it's going to equate or surpass what the Brig requires.
Yeah, Zidra could have been in trouble there, but the Maywall denies the rest of the aggression here from Frostales. They have an orbital ray of their own if they want to pull it. Here it comes, pushing in Keo as well with that overclock, but the Blizzard zoning them all the way. Beautiful positioning from Dip, really denies the aggression. Rally as well from Natsuki. Insult to injury here, and Frostales sent reeling there. Just can't break this choke point. The swap to the Mei from Quick Esports paying off, and now a nice long delay running the clock down on Pack.
And like, I think this is where you need to consider, I mean, Go switches over and plays the Brig. I think this is where you need the Brig in the mix, right? No, not having the Brig here, like I was just talking about, just a brutal scenario. Really just doesn't give you much of a fight or chance in the fight, being able to kind of like brawl out. But bad sign for Frostales, JKS. They just wasted a ton of time doing that, right? A minute and 20 to get this first checkpoint, right? Even if you invest some ultimates here, you probably still need another fight. So a pretty bad scenario here for Frostales.
Q with the overclock, though, is going to punish Willis, who tanks a lot of that aggression. I think he's happy to do that, though. Wasting some of the time with the OC, pops the self-destruct back into the suit. So a 1-for-1 trade, but Frostales has the ultimates to continue on in this fight. Quick Esports has to just fight it. Gun battles here. Willis does get to eat on Pack's Blizzard, though. Ends up costing him his life, got walled in for that play, and Quick Esports started to crumble here, though. The weight of the ultimates bearing down on them proves to be too much. Imagine, desperate to get that cleanup on Yoham, who's still incredibly low, but has danced behind the pillar pretty well now. Mei being a bit annoying, but it is going to be that first cap coming in for Frostales.
Yeah, it's going to be this first swing for Frostales, but the fact that Quick Esports has finished the map and just kind of burns that much time here, I think gives them a huge advantage here on the defensive side of things, right? Every ultimate pretty much needs to be expended there for Frostales to be able to take it. If you can win a fight here, right, push them even further back to the spawn, you're going to burn a lot, if not most of the clock here on second point.
Nice last-second connection on the rail from Zidra allows Yoham to clean that one up, though. 4-on-4 with no sojourns. Orbital Ray rally responsively. Dip got stunned, but it wasn't quite in time to cancel the Blizzard. Looked incredibly close there by Gogo to be able to shut down that ulti, but in the end, Dip's Blizzard is a little bit too much. It's going to reset Quick Esports once again, but Frostales have maintained this ultimate advantage. They have the orbital ray to open the next fight, and you have rally to respond, but sometimes that's not the strongest play, especially with the threat of a Mei and the orbital ray just, you know, left looking you down.
Yeah, but look at the spots that they're going to be forced to use this potentially, right? Quick Esports pushing up, trying to take this space, right? Using some of these ultimates here on this like low ground on this first corner. Just a brutal spot to be in as they actually end up trying to use that orbital ray because Majin gets really low, and you're not really going to get anything out of that ray.
Yeah, not much value. Go caught and killed. Natsuki getting aggressive as well with the rally. Kyo finds one with the OC, looking for more. And Kiwi with that pick onto Zidra. Quick Esports, though, still pretty strong. Brig Mei Diva is a powerful triplet. Majin has self-destruct in the back line. They're trying to get on top of Kyo, but he's just ignoring this Diva, continuing to keep that pressure forward, continuing to try to send on some of these targets. So Willis has self-destruct if he wants to deploy it, and he's going to go for it. Kyo dancing well in these rooms, should be able to outfight this one. And the big mech drop, not enough. Not able to find a connection on it. Would have loved to drop that, but Dip just finds chaos. A headshot connection in the melee. And somehow Quick Esports have battled back into this.
Yeah, and this is just a great defensive stand here for Quick as Majin's just trying to make it back towards the spawn, has to use the DM to get there, as getting demeched again would have been quite brutal, but Pack with a right click out of the spawn takes out Zidra, so maybe an opportunity, right? As Frosttails, they get everybody healed up, but look at this, Quick Esports, they want to go, they do not want to sit back, they want to maybe force something out here off Frosttails. It'll be a Blizzard thrown in from Dip.
And it even connects onto the Diva. Majin is so low. They're able to break that mech, and Quick Esports, despite being down one, make the heads-up play to just go for it, take the push, and they end up securing some solid trades. These late deaths, though, onto Dip and Willis make me wonder, how worth it is it going to be? Keo had that wherewithal in that fight to go step up, start pushing the payload, and mitigate some of the threat. Imagine 70 to the mech. You'd imagine he's going to be able to get this one back, but if Natsuki can get on top of him with the rally, this could be a bit of a problem. It's going to enable Quick Esports to kind of start the fight on a little bit better footing than they otherwise might.
Yeah, we'll see now with the rally here early on for Quick Esports. Oh, what? That's the overclock.
Zidra was trying to pop that Diva, but instead she returns the favor. But Johan forcing the orbital ray, maybe off that play. It is going to be enough to stabilize. Go pops the rally. Hold on. And the ray as well. Just supports and tank here. They're trying to stabilize through it, but Quick Esports still fighting at near full strength here. Frosttails desperate, trying to clutch this one out in the overtime, but it's not enough. And Quick Esports win their map pick. Got a bit scrappy at points, was kind of scrappy the whole time. But in the end, Quick Esports, even up the series 1-1. Ball's back in the court for Frosttails. Where are they going to pick? And where are they going to send us to try and reclaim the momentum in this series?
Yeah, it's interesting, like now, because where do they want to go, right? They've already used their Freya ban, right? So you can't get rid of the Freya as we move forward, which they tried to play the Cassidy in that first map. Are there any other maps you can play certain things that align with that? Like you know, maybe you're looking for like some more of like a, could you do it on like a New Junk City, right? Potentially, like you want to play like just you know, rush style of play. I know maybe is there a world even when they get rid of do you get rid of a Diva, try and force the scenarios like that? But we take a look at some of the highlights, and really once Quick Esports they were able to complete the map, right, just finish it, that's when it looked like that they were going to be in the driver's seat, even going on to the defensive side of things.
Yeah, Dip actually had a pretty huge map here on the Tracer. So many of those big moments with the Pulse Bomb were, you know, his production. And then on the Mei, finding a lot of like opening snipe picks, some very big blizzards. I think he was a key factor to really winning this one out. I think Mei has a lot of impact in that comp matchup, where you're really able to dance with the front lines, fight with the help of Brig Juno. You're almost like that quasi second tank. And the Mercy almost pays off. You know, Keo starts off kind of hot with it, but it's so much pressure to sustain the Mercy value from a long map there. It's like you need to constantly be generating first kills, and that's just a lot of pressure to be under as a hits game player, to feel like you got to take big risks, you got to keep gambling, and there's always so many threats trying to chase you down.
And you know, it might be putting all your resources into like a Keo, for instance, right? But your Diva is going to lose it on the front line, right? You know, your Diva is not going to be able to kind of you know, withstand that pressure that's going to come in when the other team's coming in with the Diva and the Brig, right? So it'll be very difficult. If I'm Frosttails, like what are you thinking here? I'm thinking like, do you do like a Runasapi or like New Junk City? Like, are those are potentially your options here?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to play those, you know, some of those fast tempo styles, play around like the low ground, I'd say you probably want to avoid Coliseum because it's such a longer range map that, you know, if you wanted to bring out something like the Cassidy, I think it'd feel a little bit more awkward. But I remember we are going, you know, very likely back into a Freya world here, wherever we end up. And the question is for Keo is, you know, what's he going to pick now? I mean, Oasis is a pretty solid cast map overall. Like, it's probably one of the best in the pool. But everything else in the pool is longer range, including Renasapi.
Yeah. And it's quite interesting, right? If you're Quick Esports, you'll obviously get that second ban. If Frosttails doesn't ban, let's say, a DPS, is there a world in which they ban Cassidy on the other side, right? And force like a Freya matchup, or force you to play like a Sojin to the Freya potentially, right? Like, I think there's options there for Quick. So no subs coming into this, but Frosttails with that first ban, like, I don't think you would ban I don't think you'd ban the D.Va, actually. I think, you know, Majin's actually played pretty well against Willies in terms of, you know, the D.Va head-to-head, and then I think that opens the door for Willies to end up playing some of the Hazard. So, taking a look, so Frosttails, their first ban, okay, so their first ban is Juno, and then, like I was just talking about, where Quick Esports, they see that there's no DPS ban that comes through from Frosttails, they get rid of Cassidy, right? So they get rid of the Cassidy on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, Runasapi, maybe a map where Cassidy can work. You know, maybe the high noon value could be pretty solid, swinging around some of those corners. So taking that out of the pool, attacking the comfort for Keo. We'll see what how Keo responds to this. So it could be the Sojourn, but honestly, maybe it has to be the Ashe. Like, I don't know that Sojourn has a strong matchup into Freya. It seems a little bit difficult with how much she's going to be up in the air.
Yeah, and I wonder if you could play even faster, right? With Juno gone, like, is there a world in which we see like Kiri Lucio in the mix, right? And, you know, you play that with a little bit of a faster play style. Potentially, right? But it doesn't seem like Frosttails wants to go there. It seems like they much prefer playing, I know, Cassidy or some of these slower comps, even bringing in the Mei and the Mercy there on circuit. So, you know, who knows what we end up seeing from Frosttails at this point.
I think Runasapi, you almost don't have a choice. You really just have to play fast on this map, you know. And so with both teams playing the Lucio Kiri on Oasis, expect to see that just run back again. But it's going to be a different core for Frosttails, of course, no longer able to bring that Cassidy to bear. And, you know, it's interesting that to kind of get this ban out of Quick is already pretty impactful, right? Like, this could have been spent on a tank. This could have been, you know, attacking some of the other members of the roster. But instead, they're kind of put the pressures on them to ban Keo out. He did have a pretty solid game, and the high noon pushes from the team overall were really impactful from Frosttails, allowed them to win a lot of those fights. And Freya kind of struggled some of those engagements. It felt like Keo was able to get the better of that head scan duel, you know, in the chaos with the aggression that Frosttails bring.
Yeah, that's true. I also think for Frosttails, look, you tried to put Pack on the Mei and make that work, but I would go back to the Tracer. Looked much better on Oasis playing the Tracer, and it was like really impactful. We talked a lot about the Cassidy, but I think his Tracer was arguably the most impactful thing that the Frosttails had there in that first round. And then you see on the other side there in map number 2, right, Dip is able to play that Tracer on the other side and play really well there for Quick Esports. So if I'm Frosttails, I'm definitely going back to playing some Tracer here on this map.
Yeah, you know, I think Circuit's just a pretty strong Mei map, but would expect to see the flankers come back to the classics here. Tracer, I mean, could see Somber, Genji, maybe. Curious. I mean, I feel like Frosttails is the team that maybe could start to bring the Genji out if Keo plays some of these, you know, less airborne hit scans. But for now, Keo just saying, you know what, I can also hang on the Freya. Maybe we want to bring out the Cassidy when possible, but they're not forced to do it. Willis, though, hovering the Ram could be an interesting pick here.
We've seen teams play Ramatra in kind of like a, or want to play Ramatra in more of a brawly sense against D.Va, but looks like now gonna go back to the D.Va, as it looks like we're just gonna have a mirror matchup.
All right, Zidra, this is your moment. You've got the comfortable matchup you've been practicing, Freya versus Freya. Keo shied away from this on map 1, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have what it takes to compete. Both D.Vas now trading on the outside. A little bit of positional advantage here for Willis and Quick Esports to kind of take that wide angle. Frosttails content to take the inside route for now. Lucio getting very low, though. Gogo and Pack both in trouble. Split pressure onto Keo, but Willis takes a lot of pressure for his trouble, gets extremely low. Both teams bruised and bloody. Not wanted to force this. Quick getting a little bit of card progress, but they need to keep Willis healthy. He's almost losing that armor for now, and Pac struggling to find the Tracer in his sights there. It's going to allow Quick a moment to stabilize. And the card going to start to roll just a little bit here. Frosttails falling back, and they're in a very awkward spot here, caught in the small room. Oh, big bolt comes in. Johan forced to cleanse himself. Willis taking some pressure as well, and Frosttails holding on to this one. They're not giving it up easily.
Yes, it's going to be just a battle here in the mid-map, but I think both backlines here, this is what you expected to see when the Juno was gone. We saw a lot of really good Lucio play yesterday, and continuing the strong Tracer play after Circuit gets Kiwi off the rip, so that is huge, right? Quick Esports building fast towards this Kitsune rush.
Back cleaned up as well. I mean, Dip has been a difference maker for the squad time and time again, and very long fight for Tracer, very easy to get caught off by something in the chaos, but Dip stays alive, gets the advantage, gets those cleanup kills, and now it's a bit of an awkward retake. Now this is a zany crosshair on a hit scan.
I mean, this is I don't know if this is one I would recommend.
I do know. Oh, big bullet shot though.
Bullet shot.
That seems like it's evaded here. Connection on the pulse bomb onto Willis, does force that self-destruct out, eat by Majin. Natsuki doesn't have the beat to respond here, so Frosttails with the first ultis getting a big tempo lead, and this may be a retreat now from Quick Esports. Willis forced out, but then Gogo overstepped the mark, thought he could get that a little bit more in the chaos. Zidra fighting well, the beat just comes down now from Natsuki. Willis trying to stay alive, trying to get the remix, self-destruct over the top, and it's deadly. Pack able to clean up Zidra, forced into a corner there, but it's just Lucio and Tracer trying to battle this one out. And the focus fire's there.
And they end up getting checkpoint here too. They're going to push further past checkpoint. As Quick Esports now starting to feel it a bit. Willie's going to get a mech back here too. So with all the ultimates expended, you're just really looking at potentially these pulse bombs that end up coming up. We'll see if Frosttails is able to get a fight win. You know, this is their map selection as well. They got first ban. It looks like though they've kind of put themselves in a spot that is perfect for Quick Esports.
And Willis holding onto that corner, so difficult to evict from that position. A little bit of flank pressure coming in from the Tracer, but neither team wants to make a misstep. Frosttails knows if they lose this fight, this map is going to get decidedly out of hand. Quick Esports content to just trade and poke. Neither team with the ultimate, so both willing to just look for those picks, not wanting to invest key cooldowns. Dip a bit low. Pulse bomb. See if he can find a connection. He's been very solid with that all series long. Big pressure shot. Force that also gets the cleanse out. Majin ready to eat the pulse bomb though. Still, Frosttails low across the board, struggling in this one. Kitsune rush from Yoham could be a backbreaker now. Bullet shot comes into the back line, not much value from that one. Quick Esports with a bit of an HP lead. See if they can continue to invest this. Yoham with a headshot on the Keo. Starts to crack this one open. Kiwi incredibly low as well. And Dip, Willis in the back line, gonna start to profit.
I mean, they're doing a great job this time, though, keeping like Zidra alive, right? A lot of the pressure from Frosttails early on in the series was onto the Freya of Quick Esports, and they were able to kind of punish in that early map on Oasis. But since then, especially in this comp, doing a much better job keeping the Freya up. Johan going crazy there in that fight. Frosttails with double supportal, but dude, how brutal does it feel to have to use both supportals to potentially make it out of the spawn? I mean, just a horrible scenario for Frosttails.
Willis mech though, before an ult comes out, that's a great start for Frosttails. Should have been able to win this fight without ulting, but Natsuki kills the Lucio, and Tracer went duel, goes the way of Quick, and Natsuki could double down on this with the beat if he wants to. Frosttails only 3 players strong. They're still trying to push forward, still trying to force some kind of a play here, but they could be overextending into a sound barrier. They just don't have the heals. Now the beat comes down from Natsuki, running rampant over Kiwi, who's forced the TB back. Lucio trying to come in and bail this one out. Majin forced out of the mech. Self-destruct is in the air.
They gotta get the speed.
So desperate for Frosttails. This is a must-win fight for them. Here's the Kitsune rush from Kiwi. Dip low on cooldowns, but dancing away well. Chase down comes in from Pac, though, able to find that one, clean it up. And now Quick Esports need to get a nice solid reset. They're still a bit close on the play, and they are just going to take the consistent safe play. Die on the point. I like this decision. You don't want to take any kind of risk. You're up in such a huge advantage here. You just play this one slow, steady, take the fights on the car, run the clock down. Frosttails need to play it very clean from here on out.
Yeah, there's no reason to kind of fumble it here for Quick Esports, right? Just taking as many fights on the cart as possible is going to put Frosttails in such a horrible position to have to invest some of these ultimates just to get it going, and they're so far behind in terms of meterage. I mean, look at this. Quick Esports going to come right around the corner yet again, this time led behind Willie's NA Kitsune rush, but Kiwi finds Zyder right off the rip.
Yeah, Zyder goes down, and the beat looks to be good enough. Go. They're able to double down, get that kill, but hold on. Yohem finds Keo. Pulse Bomb on Imagine. Breaks the mech. Willis self-destructing. Does get killed. That's a crucial pickup by Kiwi, but Yohem is getting bloody here, fighting this one out. And Frosttails, they come away with the win there, but it's such a contentious fight. So many players are going to be on the respawn here. Quick Esports should be able to get back, and it's like you said, Matt, there's just so many opportunities to recontest on this card.
Yeah, you just keep flooding out, just flood and flood and flood. Eventually, though, they're going to run out of time. The early pick from Kiwi on Zidra was huge, right? But now Zidra comes back with a bola shot. You avoided in that previous fight, but now going to have to deal with it here. And you see Willie's position, Jake, just kind of sitting around that corner. I mean, they're in a position where they have to push around that corner and fight it. They can't just let this cart stay contested for 10, 20, 30 seconds.
You do have that Kitsune rush for Kiwi. Could be a powerful way to open things up. Shot onto Zidra has to be cleansed now. That could be an opening for more. Kiwi gonna pop the Kitsune. Quick Esports just trying to back off the play now. Giving up a lot of card time, a lot of space. D.Va, though, still into the backline. Fearless dive from Majin. Getting value, has the self-destruct as well. You're trying to get these connections on Kiriko. So incredibly close. Drop the mech on his head. Frosttails winning another fight, but it's a bloody one. Still so many casualties. This should be the checkpoint for them, but it's been a painful road here.
I mean, you're gonna get checkpoint, so they're not out of this just yet. This is crazy though. That Frosttails, I mean, it's like 4 fights in a row. Yeah, they're gonna end up getting there, just being able to get a touch. You end up taking out packs. So that's quite huge there. And oh, dude, they're so close to checkpoint. To lose here would be brutal. That bot's gonna go so deep back into their territory.
And the tempo swing is gonna be very painful now, Matt. Quick Esports coming up on the full stack of ultimates. Frosttails a long way for some of the most crucial ones in the kit. And Dip here, Assassin in the backline. Gets a positive trade on the enemy tracer. Pack holds onto the recall though. But once again, I mean, you're in the spot where Quick Esports have every advantage, but they're not really porous. Here they come though. They're gonna rip the Kitsune. They're gonna go aggro, take this tempo advantage. Pulse Bomb, no connection, but here's the beat from Quick Esports. Surely that's gonna be overwhelming. Go, very low, too low to drop his own beat. Doesn't want to risk the Ajax there. Frosttails should be getting cleaned up. Trades are going both ways, but Willis is still completely healthy on this D.Va. Very hard to win this one out for Frosttails, and in the end, yeah, they are just going to be dying slowly on the cart. I mean, for Quick Esports,
the trades aren't good enough.
Yeah, you're not going to make more progress here from Quick, but you are just stealing so much of this clock away. This is going to be a long, desperate overtime finish if there's any hope for Frosttails.
Yeah, I mean, any deeper into this territory, even if you don't get any progress for Quick Esports, just expands the amount of meterage that they need to make up on the other end. So like, that's why with Quick, you don't even feel terrible about investing both support ults there to just push it further back. You get a fight win, you also get about a minute plus off the clock. There's like no downside there for Quick Esports.
Willis making a lot of space in the backline, does have that self-destruct if he goes down. That extra health on the Baby D.Va perk, paying dividends now. Able to get back into the suit. And this fight open with a pick for Frosttails, but fighting off the cart, scary proposition for them. They have to continue to push. They have to continue to bring this one back, and Quick Esports are using that to their advantage. Now the beat comes down from Frosttails, trying to clean up these stragglers from Quick Esports. They get the job done, but it's expensive. The beat is a crucial ultimate in this scenario. Dip still gets a parting trade here onto Keel. Pretty important now. Without the Freya, the forward push from Frosttails is going to be a little bit toothless.
And it was also the entire time, right? Sometimes we see at the end of those fights where it gets a little bit into like almost garbage time or just picking up stragglers. Like you're able to get this bot back towards mid-map with somebody just kind of running it down solo. Not able to do that there. I mean, Quick Esports had somebody on it the entire time, so stays contested. Not even going to get back towards mid-map pretty much here after that fight in their spawn for Frosttails. Kiwi's going to use that Kitsune rush, but if you're
Zidra
Quick,
could be in
you
trouble.
can just kite this.
Yeah, Zidra just a little bit too deep on the flank there. Gets caught and punished. Willis finds a trade kill. Quick Esports, they need to clean this one up. Still finding a second is maybe just good enough for them. Frosttails, no supports left on the field. Pack is low. Willis, imagine trying to fight this one out, trying to get any kind of exit frags. And once again, Dip gets another. Somehow, Quick Esports are finding the comeback in this fight. Frosttails still have a healthy D.Va though. Still going to be able to stand strong on point for quite some time. Quick Esports don't need to win this fight though, and Frosttails, it has to be clean. They really cannot afford to give up players right now. Imagine relatively low. You'd love to get that self-destruct out of him. Take one of those emergency buttons away. Imagine eats the pulse bomb though. It's probably
Nice
going to protect
pulse
his
bomb, yeah.
neck. Yeah, big value. The cleanup onto Kiriko now. There it is from Pack. And so it ends up being a decent fight here for Frosttails, but the double supported advantage is going to be so overwhelming in the overtime fight.
Yeah, and also what I say for Frosty as well, it's a really nice eat of the pulse bomb there from Majin, but then also they did a really good job of, like, you easily could have seen like Keo or Majin be forced to end up using an ultimate there. They just kind of know that even if they lose that fight and hold on to these ultimates, kind of take them to the grave in a loss, you still would have been, if you used them there and won the fight, you would have been in a non-winning scenario here coming up. So like the only real path is to save those ultimates to have here for this fight is very close here, you know, coming around the corner, right? A fight win here makes it pretty interesting.
Yeah, Gogo's close to the beat as well, and Kitsune Rush comes out from Quick Esports, but it's not enough to secure quick kills. Frosttails playing this one slow and steady, and so far it's paying off. Here's the aggressive beat, but Gogo has the better responsive one. Majin has self-destruct on the point if he even needs it, holding that position down for now. Big pressure onto Willis after the remake. And an HP lead now developing for Frosttails. Gogo traded. Lucio's off the field. Yoham incredibly low for Quick. It's up to the Treasures to find some key kills here, and Pack strikes
Kitsune
first.
Rush, though.
Kitsune Rush on the point is going to be decisive advantage here for Frosttails Esports. Just 3 members alive. Doesn't look like they're going to be losing any more, though. Dip just stalling as he can, getting some of those respawns back into the fight, and this is still a winnable scenario for Frosttails.
Dude, there's no way. I mean, so you're going to have players have to get like escorted back here for Frosttails. Keo's going to go over and play Sombra. Gogo going to get Keo back into the fight. If you're Frosttails, you obviously need to keep this contested, but you also need to wait to get some of these key members back in. Is I just going to end it with a bullet shot? Willis ends up getting hacked here, so going to lose a lot of his armor.
Big bullet shot there. Could be critical onto Kiwi. The connection is perfect from Zindra, and he's done enough. This should be sealing the deal here for Quick Esports. Desperation self-destruct. This needs to be ridiculously huge, but it gets nothing. Of course, Quick Esports too wise for that play. And finally, Zindra, the hero in this team's moment of need. Quick Esports lock it up, put themselves on series point here. Frosttails stalling, but it's all for naught. An unwinnable scenario here. I'll bet my kidneys.
This is you can keep your kidneys as Quick Esports ends up taking the map, but that is a lot closer than it feels like it should have been, right? Yeah. Like that kind of got like a little dicey there towards the end. I was like, what are they doing?
I mean, all right, Quick Esports played so solid. They got such a huge lead in the map. It was textbook the way they played it out from there. You know, every fight stalling, so many trades constantly coming in. They created a scenario where they had, you know, 3 or 4 fights of depth to be able to lose and still win, but Frosttails pushed them to that very limit on the comeback, right? Like they, you know, if you had any less of a strategic advantage there, that would have been Frosttails making the comeback. And so props to Quick for being in that position in the first place, for playing all the rest of the fights so well, but also Frosttails have impressed me this series. You know, the fact that they're having a tough season so far and yet still fighting so strong in some of these key clutch moments, still clearly believing that they have what it takes to win. And they should believe, because they're playing pretty well right now.
Look, we've seen winless teams throughout OWCS, and I think there's a difference between a team that is winless and not competitive versus a team that can compete and put up some decent fights in some of these games. And you see the stats, even though it's a Quick Esports win, extremely close across the board. A lot like how this entire series has been, quite frankly.
Yeah, completely down to the wire there. Zindra, though, getting that bullet shot connection, you know, man, if he misses that, like, we could have even seen a different final fight with those hacks coming in. But
yeah, sure,
you know, that's the risk coming back on the Sombra. The overtime scenario, you got to get back fast, but your damage production over a long fight just not really going to keep up typically. So Quick Esports, happy to take that one home.
And I wonder where Frosttails decided to take us here, right? You have what? You have Escort. No, you have a hybrid
Flashpoint,
and you
right?
also have Flashpoint in the pool, right? So hybrid, you got that like Midtown, Hollywood, Kings Row, probably like New Junk City would be the option in terms of Flashpoint. So we'll see where they decide to go.
We'll have to see, of course, after the halftime. We're going to send it over to a quick break. When we come back, it'll be the potential culmination here of this match here in OWCS EMEA. So stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to OWCS EMEA. It's Frosttails Esports making a pretty impressive competition here with Quick Esports, but in the end, Quick, they're up 2-1. They're on the precipice of winning this series in 3-1 fashion. Frosttails need to put up a big performance right here, and then they're going to be facing down, of course, that final map pick from Quick.
It's not as dominant, I think, as we potentially would have expected, right, from Quick Esports with how good their games have been against some of the other top teams in the region. But I think it speaks probably a little bit more to like Frosttails playing much better than we've seen from them in the past. Then I think maybe a little bit of both, right? Maybe Quick coming down to earth a little bit and Frosttails playing quite well. We'll see though, they can actually result that in a series win though, right? As we take a look.
Kings Row.
They will take us to Kings Row here. And they'll get rid of the Brig first, and then on the other side, it's Quick getting rid of the D.Va. I think the D.Va ban for Quick is quite interesting, right? We've seen Machin play a lot of the D.Va pretty much throughout the series exclusively, where we know Willies can play Ramatra, Hazard, different types of comps, right? So putting a little bit more pressure here on Frosttails to come up with something different.
Yeah, and I think, you know, taking this break away for Frosttails, that mitigates one of the key factors in controlling a D.Va. So maybe they feel like, you know what, let's get the D.Va off the field. Let's play to something we're confident on. I actually like your call out with the Hazard. I think that came out for a moment on OWCS for Quick Esports, and I think there's some real potential there. Especially, I think Hazard maybe has a bit of a tougher matchup against Freya, but if Frosttails wants to stray away and play another hit skin than the Freya, they could be in trouble against a Hazard pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see kind of what happens here with the Frosttails kind of series on the line. I think though, Quick Esports, you've already dropped the map, right? It's quite unfortunate because everybody else seems to be kind of just running through Frosttails where yeah, we'll get that swap. So it'll be Frosttails on defense here to kick things off. And Jake on defense, so running obviously the Kiri Lucio, which we see pretty often now, but a Hazard Tracer Cassidy on defense here, so no high ground control really at all for Frosttails.
Yeah, really doubling down on the brawl, but they played it pretty well on the first round. Quick Esports though, quick to respond, gonna full commit into a brawl style dip now on the Mei. This could be a problem for Keo. Mei is actually a pretty challenging matchup here. Those walls are so deadly, but big shots from Keo, forcing the Ice Block out instantly. Tempo advantage for Frosttails. If they want to take it, Quick Esports though, enduring through, now going to be re-pushing forward. Willis is low, and now Keo strikes, swinging in, pushing into the back line. Majin proving to be too tanky though, and Zidra can't stop that. Dip does trade out on the Keo, so you're going to be getting one, and hold on, this could be scary. Frosttails, they need to play this clean. Majin cannot afford to go down here. The supports are going to be able to keep him online.
Yeah, he's able to get out with his life. I mean, that is massive, where you can also see when the Hazard gets on top of... when the Hazard gets on top of the Freya, the Hazard can, you know, obviously put down a ton of damage, but 6 survivability. Not really worried about kind of dealing with that Freya in a one-on-one.
And Dip, the ice wall, a little bit off the mark. Keo was able to survive that. Now they're putting a lot of pressure on Imagine, going to be forcing him out early. Dip tanks that flashbang, but now continuing to fight in. Needs a bit of help, needs a wall, just barely is going to stay alive, but the rest of the fight, Quick Esports taking some point position. Tracer into the backline, Pack looking to find that connection. Pulse Bomb goes a little wide here, does damage though, splashing onto Willis. And Frosttails have the Kitsune Rush. They are going to rip it, but Natsuki finds the Chaos. Oh. Blizzard as well into the backline. Dip cleaning up, and Majin still healthy, but it's just him and Pack here holding onto the point. Quick Esports still with 4. Zidra pumping the damage, and finally Quick Esports are going to be able to roll this one over. Tracer does get out. Pack could set up for an overtime touch.
Might be able to get a touch, yeah.
Yeah, there looks like they're going to go for it. Tracer alive, I think, probably is worth a shot. Although, wait, Hazard's maybe not coming. I'm a little surprised by that, actually.
Yeah, because you also had Kiwi in position to potentially like even TP2 Pack, right? You could have kind of like attacked it from 2 on one side, and then kind of came through the choke on the opposite end. But looks like Big Burst thinking about maybe going to the far there. It's going to switch back over here to the Mei.
And all this pressure onto Yoham creates an opportunity here. Keo gets the pickup onto Zidra. Dip on the Mei, under pressure. Pack done taking the aggro for now, and Frosttails winning this fight, but maybe not as decisively as they would have liked. Lucio chased down from Pack. He's so deep here, but could be pretty annoying to chase down there in the attacker.
Honestly, they haven't even got the car moving, right? You see the car just basically right where it spawns. So like
Keo,
they just kind of push all the way through.
All right, Keo.
Frosttails is just they're going for it today.
Yeah.
I mean, they know nothing except move forward at all times. So you were talking a little bit about earlier. Maybe we see some Torb. You see the Torb here into the hazard. It's a nice pulse bomb there from Pat. Connects onto Willis as he moves back into the spawn. As they are literally as close to the door as you possibly get.
This is a pretty brutal spawn camp. You got to be smart to break this one. And of course, that wall from Hazard is a real problem coming out of these tiny chokes. Here's Ramatra, of course, completely alone. Has the ulti, though, to commit. Big dump of ultis here in the fight. Downpour on everyone, but the beat stabilizing for now. Dip pumping damage through the fight. 2 kills for him. Zidra get another 2. And finally, Quick Esports get the decisive blowout they're looking for. Dip and Zidra combining for some big frags.
But for Frosttails, I mean, you trade what? Downpour in beat for Beat and Ray on the other side. That's not the worst trade, especially where the cart is at the moment. Like, you can come back if you're Frosttails here and end up with that Kitsune Rush. They actually end up swapping the Tracer to play Sojourn here. So Sojourn Cassidy, like a little bit of a double, like almost like a double hit scan look with a Ramatra. Really interesting comp here from Frosttails.
Oh, Willis wasn't ready to block that high noon. Got absolutely popped in the back there. And now, Quick Esports are reeling. Only 4 alive. Chase down from Keo and Pack. Bola shot. No chance to really get value there.
Keo's looks sick on the Cassie when he's been able to play it. It's just like we talked about a little bit earlier in the series, just kind of like tough to force the Cassie into certain situations. Dip actually
I love the Genji
will
swap
not.
here.
Yeah, I like this swap because you're going to end up matching
Cassidy
here, right? In that Rampart
they don't
spam.
know. Oh, they know. They snipped him out. He thought they'd be closer there. Reasonable gamble.
Yeah.
Kimi, though, did pop the rush with that. And so it's a double fail here.
They
for
rushed there?
Frosttails. Yeah, that's pain. Now Quick Esports, tempo play. You probably just have to fall back, but this could be kind of dripping and drabbing into a last fight scenario here. Frosttails staying alive with the rest of their members, but yeah, it's really going to be down to that last fight. And imagine even getting bullied off all the way to the last, even getting forced into the Nemesis form early.
Dude.
So it's going to be down that key cooldown for a moment.
But imagine you ended up holding on to that Kitsune Rush here, right? You would have had like Kitsune Rush Annihilation with under a minute to go here, right before that checkpoint. I mean, that is a very difficult fight for Quick Esports to potentially win.
You're getting close to that sound barrier, but Gogo still 20% off. Zidra over the top. Bullet shot goes wide though, and maybe overextended here. Zidra though, getting the support just in time. Keo, he's been a key player for Frosttails in these kind of a scrappy fights. Look, he's going to take it wide on the back right. Very deep, very alone here into this play. Okay, yeah, he's going to roll off that.
He should have just went. He's been committing the entire series. You may as well just go. It's Annihilation, dude. Frosttails is set up so well here. I mean, under a minute, you're going to have all 5 ultimates at your disposal. They'll open things up with a Kitsune Rush. It's going to get the orbital ray out from Quick, and sound barriers now answer from both sides.
Better sound barrier from Quick. The focus fire with the Dragon Blade is enough. 2 from Dip. Willis finds another. And Quick Esports just out brawling here with the blade. Such a difference maker in those big support ult trades. That's kind of the weakness here for Frosttails. Like the double hit scan, they have great poke, but when push comes to shove and the beats come down, Genji just gets to beast, right? Getting right up into the fight, dealing so much damage with those big right clicks. Zidra finds a snowball pick on the Keo, and it's getting a little bit scary here for Frosttails. They need to staunch the bleeding. Majin is out. QB's incredibly low. Oh, it doesn't go down. Dip gets the final pick.
Do you not think there was an opportunity though there for Majin to end up using the Annihilation like while inside of the rush? Like even though the other side is like using a rush as well, right? Just being able to kind of like stay alive, put down some more ticking damage there for Frosttails. Is I do think here as we move forward, Keo needs to end up playing this Freya like the Cassidy here. No control over high ground. It is not going to be a scenario you're going to win where Majin now pops the Annihilation, going to move on to the payload.
That's good value from the Annihilation. Should be enough. Dip finds 1, but losing those 2 players is going to be pretty painful for Quick Esports. They're probably going to have to back off and take the respawns. However, they're continuing to get a little bit more cart tempo here, which is a nice little prize to write home about here. Dip got pushed off by the sports, and now Willis taking a bit of an advantage position here up on the high ground. Lucio gets absolutely popped. Dip dashes in, finds another. Been a hero for the squad. Pack in the back, getting marked by supports. Still has recall, so not in too much trouble here. Oh, big shot though. Hold on, that might be enough. Just like the pulse bomb, and he's too close to it. Okay, no. Willis.
I was worried there for a second.
Blade
Dude,
coming up.
for Quick Esports, you got this Blade coming up, right? Blade plus Ray. They're just kind of farming it up here. But Majin just runs right past everybody, just takes out Natsuki.
And the Ram is taking everything here, kind of unafraid of this Blade, disrespecting it, but still, it's enough. It's expensive. It takes a long time every slash of the Blade, but they do get it done. Desperation stall here for Kiwi and Pack. Just this Tracer has to hold for a few more seconds, but it's out of cooldowns. And that's just going to be too much. I don't think we're going to see another touch here. Maybe Lucio hold on, but no, booped away. Quick Esports in overtime, but they get the full cap.
It's a bit like Circuit, right? Where they're able to kind of complete the map here and then go all the way into OT. We'll see, though, what Quick Esports decides to do on defense, playing a lot of the Ramatra there. Throughout King's Row. For Frostales, I think you can probably, like, if you wanted to try and play that Hazard you were running on offense, you know, the Hazard Tracer Cassie may end up working out a little bit better, on your offensive side as opposed to trying running it on the defense like you did.
Yeah, I wonder. I do think the Torb is such a powerful answer to it. It'll be an interesting choice here for Frostales, what they want to go with. I mean, Cassidy, it's such a feast or famine hero on King's Row where theoretically you can like run it down mid and do big damage, but Dip, I mean, Dip's Genji was such a key difference maker there, so many times punishing the aggression, whether it's with the Blade, whether it's just dashing in and finding some of those opening kills. Something you got to be worried about. And for now, looks like they're content to just take the mirror here with a Genji Freya of their own.
So we'll see Quick Esports here on defense, play the Ramatra here to kick things off. I like having the Genji in the mix. We did talk a little bit yesterday about like maybe Genji doesn't have the best matchup into the Freya, right? But with the Genji being able to like access some of the high ground here, maybe it's not as much as like kind of hunting down that Freya, but just kind of like providing a little bit of extra pressure from different angles there up on the high ground and then being able to collapse.
Yeah, I think King's Row is just such a solid Genji map with that verticality. KO though needs to get something done here on the Freya. I think this is one who we haven't seen as much production from, but Dip oversteps the mark, getting punished. And a parting explosive shot from Keo does find Zidra. Pack looking to snowball more. Maybe has bitten off a little bit more than he can chew here. Needs the help from the Lucio to stay alive into this one. But that help is there. Go chasing into the high ground. And Quick Esports just crumble there. That's a great momentum starter for Frostales.
Can you do it even faster? I don't know if you could do it any faster.
That's like world record pace here on capping first.
Quick Esports just did not play just refused to play defense there at the start, where as good of a start you can get here for Frostales. Almost 6 minutes to move here through the second part of the map.
And Pack is just up in their face. Keo already has that boulder shot. Ridiculous farm rate. There's no way they see this one coming. If he's able to find a connection with this, that would really start to blow the map open. Willis forced into a defensive ulti. And the zoning boulder shot still gets some pretty solid damage. Is there going to be the cleanup here? Pack especially needs to get in, needs to find those connections. Quick Esports happy to fall back and lick their wounds. They're giving up a lot of card time, but Dip, meanwhile, doing a bit of stalling, a bit of harassment on the flank. Keo over the top, very risky position here, but he's not getting stouted for the moment.
No. See
if he can get some value. Has another vertical jump. Does try to jump down onto Zidra, but missing. Not able to find the connection. Zidra dashes away and punishes Keo.
What did the game we played yesterday? Freya, Frey no. I think that one may have been a Frey no there.
I mean, sometimes you got to try for those, and Dip finally returns to his team. Did some great cart stall in that last fight while the team fell back. Denied some of that objective progress that they might have otherwise had to suffer. And now some big ultis on the field.
Pulse bomb available here for Dip. There's going to be an orbital ray that opens things up. Oh, look at this. They just barrel through the front line. Quick Esports kind of just playing around that corner, potentially. Not ready for the aggression there from Frostales. But Jake, that's Quick Esports also investing their orbital ray into this as well, right? They kind of use it a little bit late. They've already lost maybe a player or two at the time. And that is quite brutal because there is like an eternity left on this clock for Frostales, right? If you can use this maybe Annihilation aggressively, get beat out from the other side, you can end up, kind of using your own beat, maybe secondary, and then come through with a blade where Frostales in an opportunity to take the second checkpoint rather quickly.
Yeah, and the beat from Natsuki is far from invulnerability here. I mean, massive AoE damage available for Frostales. Pulse Bomb comes in, going wide for Dip. And Quick Esports, you can see from their posturing, they know the threat on the other side of the field. They've got to be careful. They've got to grind this one out. Try to build up some of those crucial ultimates. Willis, close to an ulti of his own. Beat force now from Natsuki, but Much stronger beat here from GoGo, and here's Frosttails pulling the trigger, swarming forward with the Annihilation, the bolo shot as well, zoning off the back line. Willis is holding the front line, though, pretty solid, continuing that Annihilation, continuing to get value off that, and has some full cooldowns when it comes off. So they've been able to endure through a lot of these ultimates. Majin has to be the difference maker with the Annihilation of his own, and into the back line, he's already here.
Still hasn't even used it.
In pretty strong position here. You've got to recontest the Annihilation. You don't have the opportunity to back off, and that's going to get it over the line. Frosttails cap second, 440 on the clock. Still incredible pace here on Kings Row.
Dude, in that fight goes for so long and they're able to build up towards it. Kiwi is already built up towards basically another orbital race. So you're going to have that in an advantage over Yoham, right? If you remember correctly, they used it but basically at the same time. And then now you see Kiwi just about 30% ahead here of Yoham. So a huge advantage here for Frosttails towards the end of the map, potentially with this orbital ray.
See if they want to pull the trigger again. Willis has used his form, so they could be vulnerable. Here's Kiwi now with the orbital ray. See if Quick Esports can back off this one. They need to stay alive. They need to escape. Zindra super low, being harassed by the Juno. Everyone retreating deep back into the spawn, and seems like that'll be good enough. Quick Esports weather the storm now. Have a better chance to make the hold. No easy path rather ahead here for Frosttails. They're gonna have to just fight this one out. Jump wasted. And this is another crosshair for the ages here from Juno. Orbital ray of his own.
I don't even know where I would aim here.
Charging forward. Big missiles over the top. Does some damage, but once again, I mean, the speed kiting is so doable in this comp, right? With the double speed boost potential.
Yeah.
So hard to actually catch and punish the other team. Both teams kind of taking a moment to slow things down. Not many ultimates on the field.
You're still going to have a support ultimate advantage where you're in a position to for Frosttails, right? As Dip goes up to the high ground, has to be really careful challenging Keo in those positions. Willis gets very low. Somehow they're able to keep Willis alive.
And Dip trades it back, punishes Keo for the over-aggression. Now into the back line, has that dash reset. Not able to get the reset one more time, but GoGo is down to 1 HP on this Lucio. Surely this is just too much for the attackers to continue to push forward. And that was scary. I mean,
Dude,
Willis went down so low.
Yeah, I don't know how they kept Willis alive there. I mean, Keo hits a bolo shot, and like the Ramatra basically goes down like no HP, and then they turn the corner, and the next 2 kills are in favor of Quick Esports. Frosttails, this might be one of their best opportunities, though, Jake. Double supportal, Blade Annihilation, with no supportals available on the other side. They have to have an idea of like where they are in terms of ultimate economy here versus Quick Esports, where a massive window.
Quick Esports, they need to get 2 fights here. Here's the Blade coming in aggressive. Double DPS ult, drop from Quick. They're trying to get some kills, but of course the beat is protecting everyone for Frosttails, and they're just wiping the floor with that double support ultimate advantage. However, is it enough? Quick Esports, they're gonna have the potential recontest here. They have a sound barrier and an annihilation. They have all the tools they need, arguably, but they need to stall the cart first. Dip, maybe the one who needs to get out there on the Tracer. Here he is, stalling the cart for now. Annihilation on the point, giving trouble, but Pack steps away from the beat, kills 2. Tracer, DPS both down. The clutch seems like impossible now, and Frosttails going to be able to secure this one. Minimize the minimum result here is going to be a draw, and very likely they're going to be able to take Kings Row from this position.
I mean, dude, this is a crazy scenario where Frosttails obviously has not won a map until this series. And then you're almost staring down for Quick Esports, right? Where all 3 of their games so far come down to a 5th map. I mean, regardless, right? There is going to be a 5th map, whether it be we go 2-2 or 2-1 with a draw. In the mix, but Quick Esports seems, he can't find the blowout win regardless of opponent.
I really like the Genji pick there from Frosttails. You know, for me in that Ramatra comp, like the Blade is such a nice power spike, especially with some of those perks. You'll be able to fight a lot more confidently in the ultimate. And Tracer sometimes struggles to get like enough heals in that comp, right? With Juno and Lucio. I mean, Lucio, you can get some heals in the AoE and the Chaos, but Juno just doesn't combo as well. And so I think the Genji was the better pick, and it just took Dip a little bit too long to get onto that mirror match. Of course, very drawable scenario here. 148 on the clock, probably going to get towards some of these ultimates, and Dip feels the pressure to step over to the Mei here on the defense. If Frosties were watching, they would have seen him make that rotation to the high ground, so he's not hiding the Mei.
Yeah, no, so we'll see if that's a little bit of a surprise pick here, but I think that we talked about the Genji was really impactful on offense, being able even into the Freya, being able to control some of that high ground, just put down pressure, and then the blades that come through, right? No, even if it's just kind of forcing out a bead on the other side, or a Ray doing a nice job. He did take some shots right away here And you see even Zydra take some shots, so maybe a bit of a window here for Frosttails, like up the tempo.
Yeah, quick rotation through, and Keo's going to start to bring the harassment here. They may not expect this angle. Juno in trouble. Well, hold on, Sidra striking first. Quick Esports, despite the fact that they're facing a loss here potentially, they're still fighting well. And, staying healthy, getting a very nice cleanup. Keo probably going to be going down here, just caught in no man's land. And he just didn't find any opportunities there. Quick Esports brought the tempo way more aggressively. Frosttails were kind of waiting for something else to happen, and seizing the initiative ends up paying off.
Well, their offense the last time for Frosttails was, a record pace, right? The defense from Quick Esports non-existent. This time, though, Quick Esports gets one fight win. Now we basically, getting closer towards last fight territory, right? Probably one more after this is, they get Johan low. Johan's able to kind of dodge for just a bit, but you see the space created here by Frosttails. They push some of these players back all the way through the choke.
Yeah, and Pack wasn't able to find the connection, but did create a lot of opportunities elsewhere. The front line now crumbling. Quick Esports, they don't have the heroes to hold this point. It's going to be Frosttails evening up the series here, 2-2 on their map pick of Kings Row, and we're going to be going to Flashpoint.
Yeah, it's going to be Frosttails, not via draw, winning Kings Row and sending us to Flashpoint, a Game 5 here between Quick Esports. So I think I just heard you scream. Between Quick Esports, who has been very impressive, right, throughout the stage thus far, going to a Game 5 yet again, but this time not versus one of our top teams, but our bottom team, right? Did not win a map prior to this series overall in EMEA. So a rough go here from Quick Esports. Oh, who does this series tell you more about? I'm curious in your opinion. I'm conflicted.
I honestly don't want to blame Quick too much or think that they're falling off. I kind of want to hand it to Frosttails for being able to resurrect something out of a really rough start to the season, to be able to continue to come and play with this confidence and bring the tempo to the opponent. I think it'd be easy for some of these teams who qualify into OWCS to the top level to take some really heavy losses off the first couple weeks and start to lose some of the confidence in themselves to play tempo and to be able to compete at this level. But clearly Frosttails has not lost that, and they know that they can do this. It's still winnable. Some unconventional picks, but a beautiful attack really ultimately is what seals the deal on Kings Row here. That initial attack from Frosttails puts them in position.
Not even their whole attack, just at the start, right? Being able to get 540 in the time bank, right? To keep things going after that. That kind of sets them up the entire time. And even looking through some of Frosttails' games here, Jake, kick things off, right? They played against Peps. They lose 3-0, 2-0 Oasis, full held on Dorado. They lose Runasapi by 40 or so meters. Alcatia, look, everybody's losing to Alcatia. I wouldn't throw too much stock in that. They did play New Junk City pretty close. And then Gen G we thought would potentially be winnable. They end up losing that series as well in 3-0 fashion. Pretty close on Dorado, and then same with Runasapi. So they've had some close games, just not obviously resulting in map wins and being able to take it. New Junk City, though, is a map that we've seen them perform pretty well on.
In the end, I think the Flashpoint typically goes to our map 5 because I think, the maps are kind of more similar than most of the other options in the pool. So in the end, it's going to be more of that high tempo gameplay that we've been seeing, across the series. However, there's also kind of a viable Cassidy map if you want to go back to that for Keo.
What do you ban here if you're Quick? So to recap, Quick is banned Diva, Cassidy, Ilari, and Brig.
I think, all right, so if I were them, I would ban Lucio, because I think Lucio is like a proxy ban for Cassidy. I really don't think you can play Cassidy without the permanent Lucio pocket. So that would be one way to kind of force the enemy team off their comfort zone. But you've also been using a lot of Lucio yourself, so it's tough to think. I do think maybe their most dominant map so far was probably Circuit, though, where we went towards the Juno Brig, playing more of the Death Ball. That looked really, really good. Right. And Quick Esports, maybe they like a little bit more of that control. Dip for me though has been the difference maker of the series, and so I just want to see Dip on a comp where he can really thrive, whether that's the May in like a heavy brawl style where they're going to be really playing for his walls, playing for his openings, or if they want to go towards a Genji and up the tempo, up the pace, try and shut down Kyo before he gets going in the fights.
And for Frostales, it's been Juno, Brig. You also see Freya gone from them, and Genji. They could, like, let's say, you know, there's a support ban, like it's a Lucio ban potentially, or ban for Quick. Like, I was actually, yeah, I mean, I just saw it pop up. I was actually going to say what actually they ended up doing. They get rid of Tracer, right? You can potentially force that Genji in yet again, right?
Yeah.
You just saw the Genji pay off really well for you in the previous map. So like how you mentioned, you know, Quick ends up getting rid of the Lucio. I don't think there's any tanks you would have targeted here, right? For Frostales, you're not gonna like ban the D.Va. That's probably why you've been the most competitive. I don't think you have to worry about like, you know, Maga, Ramatra, and Orisa, anything along those lines. But after the performance run pack on Genji in the previous map, if you can force that in yet again, you feel like that's probably a little bit of advantage here towards the end.
Let's see, no Lucio on the field, so I'm especially interested in see the supports. I feel Yoham and Natsuki have been really impressing me this series. Like a lot of some of those like clutch, like bloodbath fights are coming up quick because of the supports finding their kills. Both teams though gonna go with the Juno Brig. Kyo onto the old standby with the Cassidy without the Lucio. I mean, it's possible, but I just think that's a lot more vulnerable. You have that speed amp from Juno, but the Lucio's ability to just like constantly, you know, keep the Cassidy moving, peel him with boop after boop, a lot more stable and consistent. So Kyo is going to have his work cut out for him. Dip, I think, could, you know, he has an obvious target here, right? Like it's pretty much, it's the Brig or the Cassidy, but those are both very vulnerable when Ramatra's on top of them, when Zidra can get some big shots connecting in, those can, you know, set up those dives.
There's a few points here though, Jake, with like low skyboxes, like indoor areas where, you know, maybe some of the mobility of the Freya playing against the Cassidy, you're not worried about it as much, right? Where the Cassidy, like, I think there's some points that obviously like completely open, like really long sight lines where I think that would be difficult.
Dips in the back line.
Playing against, but otherwise, I think you can maybe make this work with the Cassidy, and as I say that, Willies ends up taking him out.
1-for-1 though, it's not terrible. Pack could definitely play this one out. They still have the main brawl core here. So Quick Esports got to be a little bit cautious, play a little bit more for the poke game, allow Zidra to have the time to put his work in, and here's Magin dropping quite low, taking a lot of pressure. Somebody's got to come to this point though. Without the Genji, it's a little bit awkward here for Quick Esports. Frostales with that mobility advantage seem like they're going to be the first one to flip. Now Genji's back though into the fight, holding this down. Looks to be an even 5-on-5 engagement. Kyo's back on the Freya. Feels like he does need that mobility to stay alive here. And it's everyone just looking for these pickoffs, looking for those difference maker kills. Most likely going to be the Freya's doing it. Genji's just continuing to fight on the point here. Damage coming in, Majin out of the form.
I don't hate Kyo going to the Freya here because I wouldn't say he's been like extremely outmatched.
Big Bola.
Oh, that is huge. A lot of damage you see go down to everybody on Frostales.
Everyone is so incredibly low on Frostales, and they had to fall back in that moment. Majin, after this 4 mens, he's going to be in the no man's land. Full committed on the point. Time's out now. Willie's with the advantage here, chasing this one down, wanted to finish off this tank. Dual position's getting very awkward. Brig drops in, trying to offer some desperate aid, but it's too little too late. Dip with another, and even Brig might be in the sights here. Potential cleanup option, but Pack maybe covering the retreat for now.
It's wild that nobody had taken the point that entire time, right? We just have somebody take the point there where we see like some of the first ultimates kind of come in and then being used there, and nobody was even in control of the point at the moment. So Quick, get control of it first. This next fight's going to be chaos though, Jake. I mean, it is going to be basically 9 ultimates across the board here for both sides, so it's going to get quite chaotic.
Shot, Brig low, needs to stay alive. The orbital raid not enough. They're able to get it over. Now Frostales fighting this with a major advantage. Both supports are online, and the bullet shot from Kyo did enough there, cracking the rally. A hard target, but they get the job done, and that earns them the rapid retake now. 67% for Quick Esports. It's a nice lead, but still far from securing this first point. Great initiations from Frostales.
I mean, dude, that is a brutal scenario there for Quick Esports where you pop that rally straight away and instantly it's basically hit with like a bolo shot and killed there from Kyo and crew. So Frostales able to battle back into this. No support ultimates though, so Dip could go crazy with this blade.
Blade pop, Brig in trouble, caught as well by the Ravenous Vortex. Now he's over, fighting with the main group. Imagine just has to block this one up. Has the Annihilation if he wants to pop it, but he's already so low. Is going to commit though. Continuing on to this fight, trading it back. Both Ramatras staring each other menacingly. Willis looks like he's going to be able to lose that ulti. Dip though, that trade is crucial. Winning the fight on the Genji, allow him to come back in and take the rest of the engagement. Getting a bit of heal from the Juno. Ramatra dropping low. Still with his own form though. So stabilizing for the moment, and Dip maybe overextending that. Thought he could get that kill a little bit more quickly.
Dude, how is Majin still alive?
Gio with the bullet shot, doesn't find anything. Willis so close to that form. This would be the difference maker, the backbreaker potentially on the point. And Frostels have gotten into that crucial 99 threshold, but it won't be enough. And Brig maybe dying late here. She's in very deep. Still healing the Genji, but yeah, I don't think this is a winnable scenario. They're just gonna die on point, take the reset as they can, but now the retake without ultis is really difficult here for Frostels. It's a long walk up, and Zindra's gonna be the one who has the opportunity to start this one off with a bang.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to push out of the spawn door here, the door by the point, to just kind of deter them from coming over that bridge. As we see the bola shot potentially being used here, as it looks like Frostels, they realize, yeah, there's no shot for them to make it. They were going to back off, and Quick Esports in the final seconds there steal that first flashpoint.
That's a very scrappy fight, man. These teams look quite evenly matched here in a lot of these engagements. They're trying to push in our Frosttails, trying to get aggressive here before the point opens. But Quick Esports know they don't really need to push out of this. Still 20 seconds till the point opens. There's not too much time pressure on them to force through the choke point. But I think if Frosttails can play this perfectly, they might be able to put themselves in position to get that first cap for free. And Dip overextends there. Pax ready to slam the door on him, and that almost certainly is going to be the first opener. Big bola shot onto the front line, but Majin just tanks through it. Zoning away a lot of the back line, a lot of the supports, both Ramatras into the sides. But Pax should be the one to be able to grab this first checkpoint. Quick Esports keeping a bit of map control, but giving up the point.
Yeah, these Ramatras just eat the bola shots, right? I know when they end up just kind of using that power block, the damage reduction does not seem to matter, especially with some extra healing involved. It'll be orbital raise for both sides. But you lose Itsuki as he has the rally, so you're not going to have the opportunity to use that.
Still, cost both the blade and the orbital ray, so a +1 trade in terms of ultimates for Quick Esports. They're gonna have potentially, they have Rally Annihilation and the blade soon to follow here. So Majin is gonna be under a lot of pressure to deliver with this Annihilation. Quick Esports, see how they take the walk up.
Yeah, well, this isn't like the first point, right, where you can kind of like push out a little bit towards the opposing team's spawn as they kind of come on in. You kind of want to just like welcome in towards the point. A few players are getting quite weak. Dip taking some damage, Yoham as well. See if they can keep these players alive as they move on in. We'll see if Dip can get in position. He's going to go to the high ground here. Threaten with a blade here, just putting down some damage on the Majin.
Dip's low, doesn't have cooldowns, is going to pop the blade. Mostly defensive here. And Keo kills Zidra. Blade maybe overextending. Oh, somehow kills the Brig there.
What?
The life steal just way too much from Dip there, keeping him up into that fight. Frostels thought they had him dead to rights, but it's they're the ones who are overextending. Keo, though, finding Genji in the chaos is going to make this one winnable here. Quick, though, with a bit of an advantage. Zidra coming back into this with the bola shot. Imagine starting to drop low. Bola shot, as you mentioned, just being tanked through, not able to be damaging. Imagine holding strong. The Annihilation's lasting forever here on the point. Keo with another. Had stayed away from the Freya for the most part in this series, but here he comes, bringing it out. Making a solid performance, making a name for himself. Willis, now it's his turn to tank up on the point, but is overwhelmed by the damage from Keo. Frosttails at 99. They want to end this one right here, right now. They don't want to give this one up, and maybe the Freya duel will be for all the marbles. Another connection from Keo. Clutch gene definitely being felt here. And now Dip. Dodging, ducking, diving, and delaying. Dude. Trying to keep this point installed. Big headshots from Keo. Man, he is lighting it up right now on Freya.
Keo is lighting it up, but I would also say, like, when this team for Frosttails, like, they've been playing this, like, Ramatra mirror, I think that Majin has been getting the better of Willis, and then I would say that Kiwi and Gogo definitely getting better of the support duel, right? It feels like time and time again that they're able to find Natsuki or Yoham early on, and then also Majin seems just being able to live forever on the objective, obviously, with the help of those supports. I feel like those have been the biggest difference makers for Frosttails here early on. Blade available for Pack, and you're going to have point control here early for Frosttails.
Genji dashed in, Dip, low on resources. Orbital Ray now being popped by Yoham, but a better Orbital Ray response from Kiba, but it gets bursted down before he can get healed from it. Pack with the blade, needs to find something here, trying to catch onto that Juno up in the sky, but she's getting the heal. Does find Zidra for his troubles. Imagine with the ultimate, does he want to rip this? The Annihilation could be what they need to clutch, and they're even holding on to it. Maybe they don't even quite need it. Dip, though, chasing down Pack. I wonder if Magic's going to live to regret that. Drops the field on the point. One more hit from Dip would be enough, but he's so incredibly low, and Go finishes him off. Magic now with the Annihilation slams the door on any hope for Quick Esports to take point control. And it's an expensive fight. All 5 ultimates deployed for Frosttails, but they get the win.
And you can definitely see with Dip now going over to May, this Tracer ban is definitely hurt Quick Esports, I think, more than, you know, potentially having that Tracer in and then like playing a Tracer duo here with Pack and Dip gonna going at it, as Pack has definitely been much better on the Genji than the Tracer.
Crazy bash in from Go there, getting absolutely slaughtered. Yeah, no chance for the team to follow up on that one. Maywall now guarding the walk-up. Natsuki has the rally. You've got the Annihilation as well. Quick Esports want to win this one without ulting, though. They're trying to be a little bit greedy here, trying to secure themselves a nice, big advantage for future fights. Kia would love to stop that, but Zidra sneaking up on him, gets that advantage damage in. Should be an easy cleanup there for Zidra, and gets exactly done. And big mistake from Go there, just like basically inting that fight. Maybe thought the rest of the team could all follow up on that, but of course, the Maywall just denied that possibility completely.
Yeah, they were just so far up. I mean, there's one thing to like bash forward, right, and be out of position, but the bash forward and then to like turn around the corner and into like a doorway, right? There's no path.
And you're chasing a May who's just gonna like ice block, right? Like
there's no point for anybody even trying to heal you or get you out in that position. So definitely kind of gave that one away for Frosttails.
And Quick Esports gonna be happy with that, laughing all the way to the bank with now significant ultimate edge. Frosttails, they've clutched in some of these fights before, but Kyo's incredibly low. Defensive wall forced up by Dip. Still, the aggression comes in on the other angle here. Quick Esports with the advantage. Rally used to deal with some of these flank fights. Pack finds one onto Zidra, has the dash reset, but still everyone's dropping so low. They just don't have the resources to sustain into this. And a nice pop from Willis. No problem 1v1 in this break, and they're even going to stall her out. This is a painful stall. This is probably going to mean the checkpoint going the way of Quick Esports. Yeah, 85. There's no way Break's going to be back to this engagement. Has the wrong spawn wave.
Yeah, you needed to die much earlier there for Frosttails if you were going to be able to come back and get into this fight. But wait, Majin's going to touch. You still Kiwi here as well. Majin's got the Annihilation. Do they want to fight this?
Oh, the freeze, though. The May freeze with the perk online.
They're going to blade.
Pack blading. They're going full commit here. Should have this Freya dead to rights. Pack with 2. Maybe it'll be enough, but still big ults for Quick Esports on the point. So challenging to fight into this, and they still have the orbital ray if necessary. You've got to contest the Annihilation.
Oh, you end up losing Go here.
Yeah, and Genji now super low, caught in the vortex. And Willis just gets the massive cleanup there. The freeze perk coming online for Dip. He's really hit a power peak now where it's going to start to get a lot more difficult, I think, for Majin especially, right? You rely on that power flash being able to be up crucially at all times, and even like a second of not being able to hold it, you can get bursted down.
I guess there for Frosttails, you go in and use a blade and you get like 3 ultimates out on the other side. So like not the worst there, and you're gonna get to the point at like the same time, right? So a little bit odd to see somebody like go in and challenge it like at that kind of moment, right? We expect always everybody to rotate early, but that time actually I think it's a win for Frosttails.
Big damage from some Zidra punishes Keo for being over the top. Rally and orbital ray force now. Frosttails have to dump everything, trying to recommit to this. Johan with his own orbital ray though is keeping a team alive, and the freezes from Dip are just denying this aggression from Frosttails. They get caught flat-footed. They dumped everything and they still lost.
This is the fight that may end up being the loser here for Frosttails, as you end up double support ult, bola shot there, and Quick Esports is able to end up taking it with just their orbital ray off of the early first pick off of for Zydra being able to take out Keo. So getting off to a great start here is Quick. You're going to end up holding on to your rally, and you're going to get above 50% here. I mean, couldn't be a better start on potentially our final flashpoint for Quick Esports.
They go over to the Curious. They have the cleanse, but I mean, he's not even ulting here now. Drops the Blizzard onto the Sriracha. He's frozen up. Is the cleanse going to be there? Doesn't seem to be, and the full freeze is enough. Annihilation doesn't get enough done. Pack with the blade. He needs to clutch this one out. We're coming into that final fight. Here's the blade, but he's low. He needs to find a kill. Has to back off. Has to fall out of it, and it's so desperate here for Frosttails. It may be a full back here. Bola shot goes wide from Zydra. Quick Esports, so they still have the rally, the Annihilation. So much damage to be brought to bear, and they're going to be cleaning this one up. Not just the map, but the series. Quick Esports, it's such a scrappy fight, but in the end, Frosttails fumble and cannot take it down.
Man, a brutal loss here for Frosttails, as they were in it till the very end, but they kind of fumbled it there at the end. But hey, Quick Esports in Quick Esports fashion always go in game 5. This time they end up getting the dub, but man, this team never easy, it seems, with Quick Esports. Always going to go down to the wire regardless of the opponent, right? Whether we're one of the best in the region or the absolute worst.
Well, I mean, for Frosttails, honestly, I do think they played pretty well today. They made this a tough competition, but in the end, I think Quick Esports, they had the adaptability. Their map picks ended up being solid for them, like, you know, and they even played Frosttails very close on the opponent map picks.
Yeah, it really came down to some.
Yeah,
it came down to some just crucial mistake. It could have been theirs, right? Like if Gogo wouldn't have entered himself in there, etc. It was like those little things.
I saw that was painful. Bro, yeah, I've been there, man.
But they want to play fast. Sometimes they'll do fast. So.
True. Well, but they managed to push them all the way to map 5. Then again, maybe that's just Quick Esports thing. Maybe they just are that map 5 kind of team. Either way, I think on both sides there were a lot of standout performances from individuals. Like even though Frosttails lost this one, Keo really impressed. Not just on that last map, being just such a clutch player. I love when we see him like kind of free ranging on Cassidy, right? Like when he's going uncontested, when he's surviving, like he's putting in so much work for the team. I think overall there's a lot of great stuff to build on if you're Frosttails.
One of the more interesting things, Jake, as well, I didn't think Keo's Freya was like so bad that they need to play Cassidy on like maps. Like
maybe Cassidy's just not so bad, right? Like think about Oasis being a map where, you know, getting into that closer range, brawling a little bit more aggressively, some of those fan the hammers on the tank and you know, start to give you that little bit of a lead in terms of the damage dealing. But I agree. Like, I don't think they were. It was good. They didn't seem scared to go to the Freya. It was just they had some other ideas that they could bring to bear in the series, which is a good sign for Frosttails. Like you said, something they could build on, something they could maybe find more opportunities to work those in. And like you said too, Zoe, like, you know, I think some of those mistakes in the final map are going to be coming back to bite them. But to have played it this close is something that you can say like, all right, you know what, we can compete at this level. We can actually challenge some of these teams. And if we're able to iron out some of those details and respond a little bit better, then hey, maybe this is a win in another universe, you know?
Yeah.
I'd also be very interested to see how familiar those two teams are with one another, like how much scrim time have they had against each other, and if that has affected the result here as well for Frosttails to be able to actually push them all the way to map 5.
You imagine these teams have some history with each other, right? Both coming out of relegation, obviously kind of you know, playing against each other there, and then kind of coming up, and it could be difficult to find scrims against some teams, but I think for Frosttails, it's kind of the players that we highlighted a little bit earlier that I thought were great. I thought Majin definitely had the advantage in some of the tank battles against Willies, who's been really good here throughout the stage thus far. And then Keo playing all the different kind of hit scans, I thought was quite good.
Yeah, also, of course, the big difference makers are just your in-game settings, such as crosshairs, right?
Dude, I couldn't take this. When we went to somebody's POV on Oasis, I was like, no, bro, we
these are just... look, if we could have awarded map off of vibes, Frosttails would have won.
True. The crosshair vibes, elite.
Yeah, I mean,
was this a difference maker? We have to have a serious conversation.
I like the one with
the difference maker?
I like the one with the little heart in the middle, where you literally just didn't see anything.
I liked the one that was like 85% to the center of the screen.
Well,
that one was.
If your crosshair's big enough, you can't miss. So, did you ever think about that?
Right, but if your crosshair's big enough, you can't see.
True. True.
Like,
don't need to see if you can't miss. Think about it.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about here. Sure. But you know what? It shows that they're having fun with it, and they're here to entertain us. So we are all about that. Thank you so much for all the laughs, as we unfortunately do have to put down another L for Frosttails. But Quick Esports, they are continuing their winning ways. Now looking further into the rest of the stage, they're in a really good spot to finish in that mid or even top echelon. So we'll see how far they can take it. For now, we have Dip joining us for a quick chat from Quick Esports. Let's go. Dip is with us. You can hear us, it seems.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for having me.
All right, before I dig into anything, the Frosttails shirt you're wearing right now. What's with that?
I mean, let's get some banter in. I mean, this team is my friends, so they're all my friends, so had to put that one for the interview.
Okay, I love that. I absolutely love that. Let's talk about how familiar you are with them. Obviously, both coming from promotion and relegation. They managed to push you to map 5. I don't know if you guys just love going to map 5. That seemingly seems to be your thing. Maybe you get paid by the hour. I'm not sure what the deal is there. But are you guys scrimming a lot against Frosttails? Are you just very familiar with each other?
We weren't very scrimming them recently, but we know them very well. Actually, I saw 3 of their players, maybe even 4 today at LAN. So I know them really well. We all know them really well, and we kind of knew what they were playing. So yeah, we're pretty familiar with them.
I'm wondering, were you caught off guard by their performance? Like, they've been having a really rough start to the season where you guys have been upsetting some of the teams that people maybe didn't think you were going to be able to beat. So, I mean, coming into this thought you guys would be maybe the heavier favorite. So going to map 5, a solid performance from Frosttails, but was that what you guys expected? Did you think it was going to be that close?
Not necessarily, obviously, but I think Quick Esports are just addicted to map 5. Like, I think at this point we can just say it wouldn't be a Quick Esports series if this wasn't going to map 5, so just gonna cut that.
I mean, we talk about you guys going to map 5s constantly, but like, what do you feel like needs to change for you guys to like get rid of some of these teams a little bit faster, right? Sometimes you guys look like you're clearly the upper hand in a lot of these series, but they just kind of linger on. What do you feel like you got to do to take care of some of these teams quicker?
I mean, I would say some consistency, because we're winning some maps pretty easily, actually. But yeah, definitely consistency, actually. Because if we manage to do that on all maps we play, then we can get some maybe 3-1, maybe even 3-0s going. So that'd be ideal for our team, so we can play the map score as well. Because we're obviously not aiming for relegation, but to stay in top 6 and make playoffs.
Right, well, we are on a great, excuse me, trajectory. And speaking of consistency, you are consistently at the very top of the scoreboard with your performance. And today is no difference. Player of the match honors are going to you. So congratulations to you. And of course, a big congrats to the entire team. And best of luck in your next match. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
I was pretty impressed by Dip this series, actually. Like, the flexibility, I thought the May looked really solid, especially in anytime the Juno Brig comes out. That freeze perk, really powerful, even in the Ramatra matchups. You know, the May was great, the Tracer was amazing, the Genji as well. Doing everything he needs to do in this meta.
We can't keep going to game 5 though. We got to get